fix the lighting situation. Still working on it. Still working on it. Here we go. Fire up another when the song ends. Cause I'm the son of the South. Daddy redneck, mama half hippie. Talk down, I talk bang, I'll back. Don't bite, get a whipping. I like catfish, cook in the creek bank, kinda can't find in the city hall. But I ain't just whistling Dixie. I ain't just whistling Dixie. Talk down, I talk straight, not back to my little white butt. It's a whipping. I like catfish cooking on a creek bank, you can't find in the city. Oh, and I ain't just whistling Dixie. No, no. Oh. Hey, how you doing? It's your first time? Is it your first time? How you doing? Cause I like catfish cooking on a creek bank, kind of can't find in the city hall. And I ain't just whistling Dixie. No, I ain't just whistling Dixie. I want my Humpday hangout, man. Where's everybody at? You knew for 2 days it was gonna have the Humpday hangout. How you doing, man? Trying to find an angle somewhere to put this light where it's not just beaming right in my face. That might work. How y'all doing? Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for coming. This is the Humpday hangout. Out here currently camping. Got the campfire set. I didn't light it yet, but yeah, we're gonna do the live stream first. Hang out with y'all. Whoever wants to show up, talk. You know what I mean. But I got my sleeping bag out there, little camp chair, pack of hot dogs, some hot dog buns out there waiting for me. So whenever I finish this, how y'all doing? Thank y'all for showing up. How y'all doing? Florida Swamp Monkey. Pretty much been living in the car since September. Doing what I can. Working a retail job on the weekends and then running Uber anywhere in between. Making YouTube videos, just trying to like document my story from here to there. If you're into like self-motivation, self-improvement videos, I don't know. But anyway, welcome to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know if the chat's working or what. I'm not seeing any chats yet. But feel free to ask whatever questions you might like, whatever questions you might have. But yep. Let's see if I can get the angle on this light just right here. I don't know. Probably not. How y'all doing? How you doing? Hello, hello. Appreciate you hanging out. But yeah, I don't know if the chats are working. Doesn't look like the chat's working. Not quite sure what's going on with that. It's like the third live stream in a row where the chat's not been working. How y'all doing? How you doing? I'm gonna have to put these windows down. Oh yeah, that already feels better. welcome. How y'all doing? Thank you for tuning in, hanging out with me tonight. Just having a, relaxing cigarette break. I don't know if the chat's working. I haven't seen any chat popped up yet. I don't know. Last couple live streams, the chat wasn't working either, so I don't know if maybe they muted my chat or what. Thank y'all, appreciate it. But anyway, pretty good day today. I'm currently out here doing the $20 Walmart Survival Challenge. I'm in the middle of making that video and everything. But yeah, pit stop back to the car, recharge my phone up a little bit, and everything going with that. How you doing? Checking it out. But yeah, in the process of trying to upgrade the phone here next, either next check or the check after that from the retail job. Gonna upgrade the phone, invest in the live stream a little bit more. But yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in for now. Currently homeless, trying to do what I can. Currently got 2 jobs, well, 3, hopefully. But I don't expect this to pay off, everything and be everything. But just trying to get my story out there, see if anybody else is interested in listening. I do like to yap a lot, so if you tune in and just zone out for a minute. But yeah, I've been living in the car since September, doing my thing day to day, stacking up a little bit more each day. Currently off the side of this 2-lane highway, there's like a little parking lot and everything that I'm chilling in. I don't know if the chat's working. I don't think anybody, if anybody has chatted or nothing, I don't know. It's not working. But yeah, says I got 9 viewers. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Still smoking on the same thing I've had for a while now. The THAs that I've had. I got 1 more nug of it left, basically. So tomorrow I'll do some Uber driving tomorrow. Be able to buy some more. And I need gas. I did go out. I did like 1 order today. Pretty much took me from the city down into down to where I am now, pretty much. So I don't know. It was worth it to take it at the time. I went ahead and took it. Hung out for quite a while though, waiting for it. Kind of, I don't know. Pretty much why I only took the 1. I guess it was just dead tonight, being the first of the month. Everybody making their rent, mortgage payments, and stuff. I doubt, like even the people with gray and silver hair up here, I doubt they're probably even still paying a mortgage, kind of, sort of. All right, so the chat is working. I appreciate you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I didn't even know if the chat was working. I had last 3-4 straight streams I've done. I had nothing going on in the chat, man. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for the quality. I do plan on upgrading it, here 2 to 4 weeks or so. I'm not gonna, do this for too long. But yeah, this phone, I thought it was an S23. Apparently it's an A23, so I was like, oh, that makes sense. But yeah, I'm out here. I'm just I'm praying that an animal doesn't get into my backpack that I got out there in the woods. I got like a camping chair and a backpack and sleeping bag, pack of hot dogs and some hot dog buns out there. I basically came back to the car to charge my phone up for a little bit, go live. It was pre-scheduled live, so I couldn't not show up. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, I appreciate you hanging out, man. Appreciate the engagement, man. I'm doing what I can out here. Jerry, I thought I pissed you off, man. I thought I made you unsubscribe. Yeah, I'm not in the woods right now. I'm like right off the road in the car, but I got a spot set up out, it was like a 15-minute walk to get back to the car. You'll see, I'm making a video about it. I'll post it. I'll have it up tomorrow, probably before 4 p.m. at least. It's the $20 Walmart Survival Challenge video that I was thinking about doing. But it was funny, man. I went to grab all the stuff, and I go to swipe my card, and it wouldn't work. It was like I was I was at my credit limit. The card wouldn't swipe. I just kept trying to swipe it and swipe it and swipe it, and finally it went through. It was like, all right, whatever. Anyway, yeah, we're just hanging out, man. Having a good Wednesday. Went and got the oil change today. That was the big major accomplishment of the day. Finally getting the oil changed. And the guy that did my oil change, he's actually a fan of the show, so he might even be watching right now. So, I don't know. Anyway, shout out to him, man. He did a pretty good job. It looked like, from what I saw, it looked like he was one of the only people working. It was like, you know what I mean? It was like 5 people, but only 2 of them looked like they were actually working. There was one guy that was just like playing supervisor. Anyway, but yeah, it was a major accomplishment today. It was getting the oil change, having enough credit to get the oil change. And pretty much since April started now, it's going to be paying down the credit cards the whole month. What do we got here? Joe Blow. Wingstop and a joint. Fun. Wingstop. I don't know. Now, these are just like cigars. This ain't. Yeah, these are just 10 cents a piece or some shit. Just hanging out, man. You know what I mean? Looking for other people want to hang out, You don't have to be a smoker. You know what I mean? Just don't offend somebody else that is. The drink you have there? Oh, it's just Polar Pop, man. Just Mountain Dew. Almost got to run up here to the store to get some more. I'll do that during the stream at some point. We'll ride up to the store together. I'll have y'all keep an eye on my car while I'm in the store real quick. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's almost out. Pretty much I came out here. It was weird. I came out here, there was like a couple with their dogs came out too. And like I go out there to the camp spot and I'm starting to set up and everything, and then here they come from around the corner of the trail, and then they come and let their dogs, I'm like, dude, you're like right in the middle of my camp spot. And meanwhile, there's like a whole other spot. If they would have went up the trail a little bit more, there's like a whole other spot they could have let their dogs run around the water. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know, they had like almost walk right through my fire pit and shit. I don't know. Yeah, it's about a half-hour trail the whole way around. And if you got a good pace, you can definitely make probably like 10-minute walk. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like a half-hour trail going all the way around. And then, at the back end, there's like 2 campsites. There's one that's like right on the elbow of the trail. And then there's one that's like a little bit off the trail a little bit. You got to go online and reserve it. I've got it reserved until May 1st, except for like 3 days in April, from April 10th, or no, yeah, April 11th, 12th, and the 13th. I don't have it reserved because they make you wait 3 days, or some, you know what I mean, 3 days in between each reservation. But yeah, I got it pretty much reserved until the 10th of April, and then again April 14th until May 1st, basically, some shit like that. And then, yeah, I need to get back on and reserve it some more. But yeah, looking in the land a little bit more, and I saw something about if I go out there and buy the land that I'm thinking about, I'll have 12 months that I can, before I need to start building on it, which I think is ridiculous because, like, whoever has it now, they've owned it for how long? You know what I mean? and I could be buying it to do the same thing that they're doing with it. I could be buying it just as an investment, but it's like it's written where you have like 12 months to start building. If I were to purchase that land, I've got to break ground on it and build right away. And then there's also minimum square footage requirements and stuff like that. So I don't know if I could do a cabin because there's like a certain aesthetic that they want for the. I mean, if I can get a 1,100 square foot cheap cabin, you know what I mean? I don't know. They can maybe include the porch on it or something. I don't know. I don't know what all it is, man. It's. I might just have to look somewhere else. I gotta look into land with like no restrictions on it, which it's kind of weird. You can't search for land. You can't look for. There's no way to search for unrestricted land on Zillow. At least it's it's weird. You know what I mean? It's just part of Zillow that they don't sell unrestricted land on Zillow or something like that. Is that? Nah, it's not gonna suck to move to camp. I mean, I'm like a 15-minute walk back around to back to the swimming hole. Minimum requirements, yeah. There's all kinds of stupid rules. I mean, there's no HOA at least. There's no HOA fees or something like that, but it's still a deed restricted community. Um, I don't know. And then I was looking at it a little bit harder. The lot I'm looking at, like 12 to 15K. But if I were to save up, I could find a whole acre. I can get a whole acre lot for like 25 or 30,000. You know what I mean? So it seems stupid to buy a quarter acre for like a third of the price of a whole acre. Because there's more that you do if you have a whole acre to your name, or at least like a 0.95 of an acre. You're just under an acre, because sometimes they do that. They'll sell like 0.96 acre. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you have that much land, there's more that you can do, because you can homestead an acre. You know what I mean? But yeah, it looks like I might have to be way, 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 way back in the neighborhood if I do get land in that neighborhood. But I don't know, man. It's just stupid. It's just basically because like I have nothing to plan to save for now. You know what I mean? I don't know, unless I maybe do the boat thing, or maybe get like some kind of wagon that I can pull behind the car. I don't know, man. Just kind of like shoots my plan in the foot. Yeah. I'm glad I don't know. I'm glad I didn't actually buy it yet, because they're wanting the whole amount up front. You know what I mean? Which is better for me, because like the I really don't want to be in debt for any reason. You know what I mean? That's why I'm looking at just buying a $15,000 piece of land somewhere, having it all paid off, and then a buddy of mine hit me up today. He's about to start a new job, and he was like, "Yeah, if you want, I could probably get you in there." He's like, give me like 60 days to kind of like catch my ground, learn my footing. I would look for something that's more rural with less restrictions for sale by owner. Yeah, but there's not a lot of that. Like pretty much the whole state of Florida, they're trying to turn into like deed restricted middle class housing, unless it's like too swampy that you can't even build on it. And even still, they're trying to run highways through that. It's just like the whole state of Florida. It's just millionaires speculating until they become billionaires. And I almost think it's better just to keep piling it up onto Bitcoin, because I made it to a tenth of a coin, like 0.1, like in less than 2 years from zero. Well, I had about $300 that I got from mining off of my computer. I got in when I first got into it. I got into mining. I should have just bought Bitcoin. I shouldn't have spent $2,000 on a mining computer. You know what I mean? Like, granted, I knew enough about what I was doing. I was able to hook it up, you know what I mean, and get it going. But the equipment I bought, like 3 months later, it got replaced. So, I was making like $1 a day, and then it went down to like 50 cents a day, and then it went down to like 26 cents a day. You know what I mean? But I still had it running for a good amount of time, and it made about $300 worth of Bitcoin from mining it. But it would have been way smarter just to take that 2 grand and put it onto Bitcoin, because I would have the amount now that I'm trying to get to. You know what I mean? Like I said, I got 0.1. I'm trying to get to 0.21, because there's only 21 million of them. So, like, if you were to divide it evenly, only 100 million people could have 0.21. 100 million people out of the 10 billion people that there are on the planet. You know what I mean? And they say $1 million a coin is inevitable, and then everything after that's kind of uncharted territory. They've got no idea how much bigger it can get from there. But like the million, they're saying 1 million in the next 10 years, 5 years, you know. So if I were to get to 0.21% of a Bitcoin, you know what I mean, that'd be $210,000, which, would be enough that I could actually do something with at that point. You know what I mean? But I think, I don't know. It's stupid at the same time, because like I'm gonna need the money to live, but I don't know. I could stack up like another. The faster I do it, you know what I mean. I could stack up another 10% of a Bitcoin with it being under 70K like it is now. It would only take another $7,000 to do it. You know what I mean? And then just hang on to it. You know, like, it's hurting me in the meantime, kind of. Because it's money that I could use for right now. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. It's not necessarily hurting me in the meantime. You know what I mean? Because it's money that I'm not even really seeing. You know what I mean? I'm putting it straight in. I don't know. But yeah, I got a hardware wallet and everything, so. But yeah, I don't know. I was really thinking it'd be smart to buy land too, because like I don't think land's gonna go down in price. I need a place to live in the meantime. You know what I mean? That's the other part of it. It's like, where I'm at, like I feel like I'm constantly on the run. Like, well, where I'm at, I'm fine. I just, as long as I reserve the camp spot, there's nothing that says I can't be here at all. You know what I mean? The cops still might come out there and like want to check who's actually here. You know what I mean? But I can pull up on my phone the emails from where I reserved, where I reserved it. But yeah. But yeah, I haven't had any problem with the police out here at all either. Almost want to, like I said, almost want to go back online and reserve it for even longer. You're young enough to handle your situation. Also have a plan. Yeah, that's the way I see it too. Like each month, each month that I live in the car, it's getting a little bit easier. You know, each month, and then before I know it, I'll be like a year. I've been living in the car. Like I'll feel like I'll really have the hang of things by then. I already do to some extent, because I was looking, the entire month of March. I only spent $211 on food, and that's while eating McDonald's and Taco Bell. Or, well, granted, it's not the best thing to eat, but I was eating so frugally that the entire month I only ate $211 worth of food. You know what I mean? Which, I could probably cut that down even more. I am trying to, like I said, I still haven't even finished off this peanut butter. I need to get to that. I don't know. Anyway, thank y'all for hanging out with me. Appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and then when I get there, I won't ask. I mean, just trying to push the channel as much as I can between now and then. And then hopefully, when I get to 1,000, I'll just, people just subscribe on their own. You know what I mean? Hopefully. Yeah. trying to just keep it real at the same time, you know. I see a lot of fake ass YouTubers out there and shit, so I'm not trying to really get into all that, you know. Like I even seen people that I feel like, you know, oh, this is a real guy, you know, and then they're starting to do like these ads and cutaway ads and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my god, dude, like really. But yeah, I don't know. You can make some money from YouTube. I mean, you don't need to have 100K subscribers to make money. You know what I mean? That's the way I'm thinking. And it's more or less for fun. You know what I mean? I have fun making the videos. I have fun posting them on. You know, I have fun with the audience. Everything about it's fun. It's cool. You know, I don't know. But yeah, like even right now, Jerry knows there's, you know, I don't know, man. Is the connectivity bad? Connectivity's good. Was it just buffering? I don't know, man. Because it just went, it like, I don't know. Appreciate the likes, man. The connectivity's not good. That's what it is. The connectivity's not good. I don't know. No, I didn't bring a cooler. Well, like I'm doing a
normal voltage.
I really shouldn't even move
Waiting
the car.
connection.
What the hell? Did they siphon my tank or something? I've got like no money for gas and my cards are maxed out. Like I really need to run tomorrow. Get some Uber orders done. Like I did run one. I made like $6 on, so I got like $5 to put into the tank tomorrow to like start the day with. But I'm like really fucked up right now. If you know what I mean. About to need to borrow $20 from a friend to even get through. Or borrow $20 from a friend just to throw in the tank. So hopefully I can get some orders to be able to pay them back. But pretty much at camp, yeah, I got there's a like just a camp chair, like a blue folding chair. I got my backpack, and inside my backpack I got the sleeping bag. I got my hot dogs. I got a pack of hot dogs. Um, pretty much it. Because like I said, I'm doing the $20 Walmart survival challenge. So I went to Walmart. Like I did say, like you know, in the video, you know, I'm like, you know, I do have my backpack, you know, like that I had previously. But other than that, it's all just stuff I bought at Walmart for $20 right now here on the spot. But how far out to town? It's about 6 miles. That's why, like, I need to go get another drink. It's empty now. But I like want to risk it just to ride down the street to get to the store, and then get a refill, and then come back, and then I don't know, starting tomorrow with just just that much less gas. Already with the gas light being on and everything. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, man, please subscribe. Homeless. I've been living in my car since September. Trying not to be here forever. Currently got 2 jobs. I'm working in between Uber, so I guess I got like 1.5 jobs. But yeah, like a buddy of mine hit me up today, and he's starting a new job where basically I'd be doing the same thing, just go into a different business to do it, and they're supposed to be paying more or something like that. So I might be able to hit them up for like 17 or 18 an hour, which will be, a step up from the 15 that I'm making now. You know what I mean? If they want to give me 17, I'll be there. You know what I mean? Because that's on a 40-hour week. That's another $80, and that might as well be another 100. You know what I mean? It's not quite, but hopefully I'm not going to get 40 hours a week from them anyway. You know what I mean? Just I don't know. Part time is so much better. Like especially if you're a single guy, ain't got kids. You know what I mean? You don't have to, just try to watch your bills for the most part. And for the most part, man, part time they almost don't even give a fuck about you. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to get wrapped up in the rest of the drama of the place. You're just a part timer. You do relieve some pressure. But it's a lot less pressure on you as well because you don't have to report there. Even like 35 hours a week is I don't know. But yeah, if you're a single guy, you don't have kids, you could totally get by on like 25 to 30 hours a week just fine. You just kind of watch your spending a little bit. I'm not saying you have to live in a car either. You know what I mean? But that's just me because I'm trying to save so aggressively. Trying to get to a certain number with the Bitcoin stack. You know what I mean? Before because when it's like over 500K, I'm not gonna want to buy it. It'll be way too high. You know what I mean? I would have had my chance to buy now, but I was still looking the other direction. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's one of them things. It's like it's restricted to those with a need to know, and then everybody buys Bitcoin at the price that they deserve. So I don't know. I've never even heard like I feel like all the rest of the crypto basically exists to kind of like build their own Bitcoin wallet. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, except for maybe Ethereum because Ethereum is like its whole thing. You know what I mean? And in Doge basically it's the same protocol as Bitcoin, so it's basically the same ecosystem because of the proof of work protocol. It's like they both run on nature basically, the way that like the natural law of Earth. It's all proof of work. Since you got into middle school, if anytime you do mathematics, you have to prove your work. You know what I mean? Can't just write the answer down. You have to show how you got there. But yeah, I feel like all the other cryptos basically exist just to kind of like steal thunder from Bitcoin, or like you build your own wallet off of selling, buying and selling off of their own crypto, and they're secretly withdrawing the money out to put onto Bitcoin. I don't know. I'll stop. It's not a Bitcoin show. It's not a Bitcoin news show. I don't have paragraphs of information down. What we got? Checking my scores. Hell yeah. But yeah, I might ride up to the store here in a minute. I need to now. But I'm gonna finish this bowl and smoke a cigarette. You know what I mean? We'll chill for a minute. Hell yeah. 4 likes. Appreciate y'all. 5 steady viewers right now. I'm getting there. But yeah, it's sad, man. I can't even get my own mom to watch my videos, man. She's just not even interested. But to her, it's just some kid bullshit. You know what I mean? She already knows my situation. She already sees what I'm going through. You know what I mean? She wants more from me, and I'm like, like I don't know. The job I do have, it sucks. There's really it's a dead end situation. You know what I mean? Like they are kind of looking at me for management, but it's a lot of work that I'd have to put in to even get to that point where they really be looking at me for management. You know what I mean? So I'm more or less just going the other direction on it, where I just need to work somewhere, and I'm already here. So you know what I mean? I'm gonna hang on to it. I'm gonna keep doing my thing. But yeah, I'm not really trying to be the superstar because I don't really, have the weight of 3 kids behind me where I need to, I feel like let another guy be the manager. Like, it's fine by me. You know what I mean? And especially like when it's less than $1 more and the pay raise and the situation, you know what I mean, situation of the store, everything, the shape that it's in. I don't need to put my head on top of the spike, you know. But yeah, that's why I run the Uber mainly, and then just try to, the job's more like bullshit position. I do go in and work hard when I'm there, you know what I mean. I don't try to, they're paying me a certain amount per hour, so I do get what they're paying for, you know. But like they're always wanting me to do a little bit extra, and I'm like, well, I'd like it if y'all paid a little bit more too, you know. But yeah, sure, I would do that if you were paying me 18. But yeah, you know what I mean. And even 18 ain't shit, you know what I mean. Really, like 22 would be what I should ask for. You know what I mean? I'm not really saying that I have the brain where I should be making 22 either, you know. But yeah, it would be nice, man, because 22 would really probably be like 16 after taxes still. So, you know, like, but yeah, I don't know what we got here. What's up, Fred? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not worth the added stress, and then they'll want to double my hours per week that I have to be there, and I really don't like being there just because people come in with their questions and shit. Like, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing enough where I need to be there 35, 40 hours, between 35 and 45 hours a week consistently. You know what I mean? It would really mess up the store. You know what I mean? So I know in my head that they're honestly probably more or less thinking that way. You know what I mean? So they're just gonna hold a carrot in front of my face to try to get me to work harder, basically. You know what I mean? So I know, even if they're, they're deciding to do this with me. You know what I mean? I still know it would be 2 to 3 years of me working to show them that I could get to that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then they just bleed me for fucking 3 years, and then at some point I end up crashing out and then leaving the job. You know what I mean? I've already been there, dude. It's like that's where I'm like, I'm so tired of that shit and going somewhere else and restarting it all. Like I said, it's a perfect job if I was already 50. You know what I mean? Like if I was like 50, 50, 55, 60 years old, and just working to, because inflation's going fucking nuts, so you need to keep working. You know what I mean? But yeah, because I'm a younger guy, they're like, oh, you should be doing more. It's like, no, fuck that, bro. I've already been trying to do more to show y'all something for the last fucking 14 years. Meanwhile, I've seen so many people get fucking handed some sweet spots. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, I get it. I'm here to be the dog. I'll just be the dog. Fuck it. At least I'm not working in a kitchen somewhere. You know what I mean? And no, I'm not really trying to rag on you if you do. Like if you work in a kitchen, it's probably because you like being in the kitchen. I can't take it. My mind can't work and process that fast anymore. I did for a couple of years. I think I did like 8 years working in different kitchens though. So I know what it is. You know what I mean? My heart goes out to the people working in kitchens because you watch the people up front make like double or triple the money that you do, and then you're the one that, like you're the one that's going to send yourself to the hospital by doing the work that you're doing. But yeah, the hardest part of a waitress's job, I mean, well, I don't know. You know what I mean? But I know for me working in retail, the hardest part of my job is when they want you to upsell certain, some other bullshit or, like, I you know what I mean? They're always like, oh, this is the featured item of the month they want you to sell. So push sells on this, and me, I don't really like pushing people, especially in this economy. You know what I mean? Like nobody's got the extra $5 to buy some extra bullshit item. You know what I mean? So you know before you even ask that they're gonna say no. But yeah, man. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna try and like the one dude, man. Pretty much when he left, I don't know. Like the manager was cool. He was a cool guy. I could send text messages to. I could send random jokes to. You know what I mean? And then they switched him out, and the new guy that came in, he's like an ex-police officer, so he's got like a completely different mindset. And at the same time, it's not that he's super strict. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's just kind of like hands off. You know. And then he got rid of the RPP that we had. A buddy of mine, basically now. You know, like one of my friends got let go, and then now another guy that I'm friends with working there, they're gonna move him to another store. So like the two guys I was friends with at the store, they're both gone. And then now I'm gonna be there. I gotta learn three other new people that they picked to replace them. Um, and then, but the one guy I used to work with, he pretty much he was like, yeah, I can get you in over here. He's like, just give me like 60, 90 days to get my foot in the door, let them know me, kind of thing. Which will be cool because he's talking. It'll come with like a raise in pay, and then locate the location. I don't think it's going to be as busy as where I'm at. It might be just as busy, but where I'm at currently, I'm off of like a 6-lane highway, and then this other location where he's talking about, it's still talk at this point, but where he's talking about, it's like in the middle of this neighborhood, off of like a 4-way stop and two-lane roads. But yeah, I could just imagine it being like way less customers coming in. The only thing about it is the uniform looks a little bit more strict. Like I might have to iron my shirts or something, which I can't really do from a car too easily. But yeah, that popped up in viewers for a quick second. It went up to like 9. But yeah, I'm really just waiting on getting that new phone. The new phone will help everything because this blurry gray matter thing that's going on right now. You know what I mean? Trying to get that in the next 2 to 4 weeks or so. Because I know the channel's already taken a hit because of it. But yeah, I'll get that all hooked up and we'll see where things go from there. Hell yeah. What up, Kev? What we got here? It says me, bro. But yeah, I got the oil change today. Finally, pretty much took it easy on the car. That's why I've been kind of like not hitting it all week because I know that I needed the oil change and I was trying to budget my money just right. Luckily, I was able to swipe my card one more time, get the oil changed, and I'm out of gas currently. But I do have like $5 in the account to put in the gas tank and start moving for tomorrow. I just got to get up and get going tomorrow. But yeah, this small town, it's a piece of cake compared to the bigger city. Running orders out here is so much easier. How much did it cost to oil change? It was $58. Yeah, I want to say it was $58. They didn't have high mileage full synthetic for some option, for some reason. They didn't have high mileage full synthetic as an option for some reason. So I had to get the high mileage synthetic blend because I figured the high mileage blend oil was better than getting the full synthetic regular. You know what I mean? Because I know the high mileage, it's got stuff where it helps to reseal the gaskets and clean, it cleans as it goes. And, you know what I mean? I don't know. It probably still would have been better to put the full synthetic in. But in the moment, the high mileage was like $10 cheaper too. That's what I thought. Because like even if I were to buy the oil at my shop, I don't really get a discount on oil, so it still would have been like $45 to buy Mobile One, And then they still put Pennzoil in. You know what I mean? They still put Pennzoil in. It wasn't like they just put some Fram on there. But they gave me an actual Toyota filter, and then they put Pennzoil 530 in. So yeah, drink safety. So yeah, I think it's about time to cruise up to the store. Yeah.
Normal voltage. Waiting connection.
I shouldn't lose the connection because it should get better as I leave from where I'm at. In this little parking lot. A lot of traffic for a Wednesday night out here. It says it's already 10 o'clock. There we go. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping I got a 1,000,000-mile engine right here. I'm at 196 and 700 miles. But yeah, we're chilling, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. 7 viewers, hell yeah. Can't read that yet. I'm gonna have to wait till I get to the store before I can read that. Oh, we're back to 3 viewers. Alright, we got 4 viewers. Hell yeah. But yeah, when I get the new phone, I'm gonna set it up and I don't know. I'll see if anybody, if anybody pops in. I'm gonna try to live stream the whole time I'm Ubering, which will be, it'd be a lot of like sitting there chilling, doing nothing, because this town's really slow at the same time. But to do the live streaming on the Uber deliveries, it'll be better to turn the phone this way, turn the orientation on live, the other way, horizontal. But when you go horizontally, you don't really get viewers. I don't know why. You have to like build up a fan base of people that are, and then I don't know. For some reason I get the vertical because it's a lot easier to like flip in between and shit, you know what I mean? But it just looks stupid with the being like on a dash cam pointed at where I'm driving. Being vertical, it looks so stupid. It needs to be horizontal. But yeah, We'll see what happens with it. I'm still planning on buying the phone either way because it's about time to upgrade this piece of shit. But yeah. $700 is kind of a big investment at this point, but it could be worth it. It really could be worth it. I'm almost to the store now. Oh, cool, the gas light turned off too. That's cool. That must have been the way I was sitting. Nobody's in that car. I should probably take my phone with me instead of just leaving it in the car. My coworker paid $2,000 for an iPhone 17. God damn. What the fuck? You can get one unlocked on Amazon right now for probably like, I mean, I don't know about the Pro Ultra XL, whatever, but damn. Yeah, I mean, you can get the one that's not the E version. Holy shit. Alright, we'll take y'all with me. Live action Mountain Dew refill. Here we go. Brightness up. There's a bunch of people at the drink station right now. Man, this is like some shitty. Look at the frame rate right now. This is terrible. I apologize, guys. I'm gonna fix this. Sure, get as much as possible.
Take your items.
There we go. It thought my phone was a 4-pack of batteries.
No, it's just for next.
You just want my name and number.
I guess so.
Can't ask for it, that's all.
I guess so.
Let's go down for it.
Alright, it worked.
Transaction complete.
Have a good day.
Take your items.
You too, man.
How much do you
Yeah! Alright. There you go. Couldn't see him. White boys! There we go. That one. that back on. Open this up. There we go. Gonna work. Alright, it didn't turn the big head mode back on. Anyway. I might hang out here for a minute, I don't know. Some good lighting right here, at least. It's so nice, you don't have to have license plates on it. Yeah, it's nice. Oh my god, it like, you know what I mean? And then you have, the people that have their license plate on the front, like, you gotta worry about cops, like, all around, you know what I mean? At least with the only one on the back, it's like, you know what I mean, you got a chance to, like, cruise through traffic to get away from them, kinda. They might not even know who you are. For me, that's all, all they know is silver Corolla. You know what I mean? And in Florida, they have, like, a bunch of different tags. All right, we can reconnect. All right, we're good. Sorry. That's this phone again. How you doing, Mr. Duck? Hey, man. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I would suggest, like, give yourself a couple weeks or whatever. Yeah, just take it easy, man. Do what you can. I don't know. Yeah, that sucks. I would go and adopt 2 more. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of cats that need adopted and shit too. You know what I mean? You can give 2 other cats a good life. In honor of your cat, you can go get, or give yourself some time to, you know what I mean? Don't do it tomorrow, but think about it that way. You can go get 2 other cats and give them a good life in honor of his life, or her life. I'm not saying do that every time, because eventually you'd be like, you'd have like 26 cats or something eventually. I don't know. I appreciate y'all hanging out. My son does also, Mr. Duck. We all have our challenges. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I've got like Asperger's or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Got the drink refill. Doing good there. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Fucking 5 likes in the first hour. That's not bad for me. That's pretty good. Baby steps, But yeah, I'm thinking about getting a Discord going and shit too. I don't know how much y'all would even be into that or whatever. But there's pretty much waiting on DC Fez to pop in. Waiting for DC Fez to, whenever he pops in, I'll talk to him some more about it. But I was thinking about, making him the moderator of the Discord channel. You know what I mean? But yeah, just having like, it'd be like a nice, like a group chat, pretty much, but without having to be live. Like a group chat that we could all be a part of without having to be live. And then we don't have to worry about giving out our phone number or nothing on it. You know what I mean? As with like a texting group chat thing. I don't know. I don't know. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, I was sitting there, man, like doing the video for the $20 survival, $20 Walmart survival challenge, and I'm sitting there, my phone's dying and dying and dying. I thought it had like half a battery, so I was like, oh, it should be good for a while. I'm still planning on coming back to the car and do live stream. Sorry. But anyway, so I was planning on coming back to the car to do live stream and shit because pre-planned it and everything. Didn't want to not show up for the show that I planned. You know what I mean? Regardless of how many people actually, showed up and hung out. Didn't want to, even a small disappointment. You know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, I'm thinking about getting a dog myself at some point. I definitely want to get the van first, just so the dog will have a little bit more room itself. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's people that live in tents that have dogs, so I don't know why I couldn't. You know what I mean? This ventilation thing would be the biggest problem during the summer. But my current job, it only wants to work me 6 hours, 2 days a week. You know what I mean? And I could just Uber drive with the dog in the car. It'd be a little, a little unsanitary, but I could probably do it. It'd be funny. Oh, yeah, on second thought, I probably shouldn't do that. Well, yeah. Just, you just develop thicker skin over the years, hopefully. That's the best way to deal with them. Been through, you be through so much shit when you're younger that, it just doesn't even phase you when you get older. Like me, I've been in this shape my whole life. I can't really do too much about it. And then I don't know. It just I don't know. At one point, I was like 150 pounds, but I was like not right. Like, you know what I mean? I was not mentally sound at the time and everything. I was staying up for like 5 days and all kinds of shit. Like I'd stay up so long, I was afraid to go to sleep because I thought if I'd go to sleep, I would sleep so hard that I would die. You know what I mean? After staying up that, I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know yet. So it's just, I don't know. I just kept running. But you know what I mean? Like if I don't know. You've ever been like over the point of tired, where you feel like I don't know. I could sleep so hard I might not come back. But anyway, no fun being bullied. Is there another teacher you can talk to about the issues with your teacher? It's the teacher bullying you too? What the fuck? That sucks, man. But yeah, nothing like a homeless person to help motivate you. You know what I mean? All right, man. Oh yeah, of course I got bullied, man. Fuck, I would get bullied based on the girl I was dating and shit. Like I don't know, I get bullied all over, all kinds of, all. But yeah, just I don't know. I got to the point I just started letting out my inner Irishman, and then people started to not fuck with me anymore. I'm down to one viewer now. Fuck. Yep. What time we got now? 10:19, not bad. I was worried I was gonna be late. I was like, oh no, man. I kind of, I was like a couple minutes late still, but it's not a big deal. Appreciate y'all for hanging out, coming in, popping like, dropping some comments. Am I on camera? I don't think I'm on camera over here, except for this camera. Woo! But yeah, I don't think I got no new subscribers off of this yet. I mean, I don't blame them. I don't know, man. Something like that. I don't know. People can just be bullies just for like any reason now. I don't know. Because I've had like the preppy kids bully me and shit. The kids that have like, they got like everything. I've got no reason to bully nobody. You know what I mean? And then still just be an asshole to you. Cringe Cat said, "I'm Fred." Maybe. Appreciate y'all hanging out, man. But yeah, I'm just getting through it, man. It's surprised me. It's already like Wednesday. Wednesday's already over and shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm hoping my buddy comes through on this job because I'm kind of getting sick of where I'm at already. Y'all got some questions, man? What we got now? What we doing? I don't know. I gotta bust out the tablet or something. I really just can't wait to get the new phone, man. Everything will be better for the channel. I don't know. Well, I'm hoping at least. I don't know. The new phone will at least be a huge step up. All the video quality. I might even be able to get 4K video out of it. But the only thing with that is the 4K video. I'm wondering how long that'll take to actually upload using the Wi-Fi that I use. But where I go, it's pretty much is the best Wi-Fi I've found. It's almost as good as like 500 megabyte per second home internet. You know what I mean? It's pretty good. Like it took the half-hour video that I posted earlier. It took about 10 minutes for that to upload. Which ain't, it wasn't bad at all. It takes like 10 minutes to upload, and then it takes another 10 minutes. It does some kind of processing thing that it does where it like says it's processing it up to HD. It takes another 10 minutes to do that, and the AI watches it for 10 minutes. It like does like a 10-minute check where the AI's watching it for different stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not too bad, man. I'm getting through it. It's getting easier day by day. I should have got the oil changed a little bit sooner because it kind of messed up a little bit this week. Pretty much I got both the cards are maxed out and I'm out of gas basically. So I've got $5 in the bank account to put into the gas tank. I probably should put it in right now since I'm at the gas station. But this place is usually higher too, so it's better for me to go down the road somewhere else. I can get another 40 cent worth of gas somewhere else. No, I'm not smoking. I do smoke weed, but I'm not currently smoking weed. It helps my weed go further. Basically, these are like these little cigars I get. They're like $2 for a pack of 20, just like any other pack. But they're cigars. They're taxed differently, and it helps. My weed goes further. I can get like an eighth of weed, an eighth of an ounce. I don't know what country you're in if you know what an ounce is, but I can get an eighth of an ounce from the store bought weed for like $15 sometimes. You know what I mean? And then that I can smoke on it for like almost a whole week if I watch myself. Yeah, I've been living in the car since September. My favorite sport? I don't know, man. I don't really like sports anymore. I mean, I don't know. Favorite sport's probably football, because based on what it used to be, I used to watch and play more football games than any other sport. But sometimes the basketball games would be fun too. Like Madden, it would just kind of be repeat. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Madden kind of, I don't know. They ruined it, kind of. I don't know. I think they should ultimately just take his name off of it and just call it NFL 27. The next one that comes around, just call it NFL and in whatever year. You know what I mean? I don't think they really need Madden's name on it to sell the NFL game. Anyway. You're from Germany? All right, cool, man. Appreciate you. A lot of my biggest fans are from another country at this point. You know what I mean? I think Kevin's in Canada, Fred's in Australia. I'm not trying to. It's their own personal information. I'll stop. I shouldn't have done that even. But heck yeah, try to just be a real person. You know what I mean? Trying to gather an audience of people that like they are willing to check me out, to tune in, see me succeed year after year. I don't think I'm gonna go too far too fast. You know what I mean? But try to just continue to be a real person through it all. And if I make it to like 10 20K subscribers, that's all I'm trying to really aim for. I don't think I'm gonna make 100. 100 would be nice, just for the plaque. But I think I'll be too real where YouTube won't. You know what I mean? YouTube won't put me out on that. Because you get a lot of viewership from YouTube recommendations. Like when you're just scrolling through the homepage on YouTube, you know what I mean, and you find whatever it is that they're trying to put in front of you. You do get a lot of viewers off of because of YouTube trying to recommend you to new people. You know what I mean? And I think I'm too real, where I curse too much, and YouTube, you got to be more friendly, more family friendly on YouTube. Not like it's like Disney, but yeah, it might as well be. I think YouTube might be run by Disney in a bigger picture of things. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know, man. I try not to talk about politics too much. I do think the majority of politicians are just pieces of shit anyway. Doesn't matter if they're red or blue. We need more green politicians, I feel like. So, we all vote for the green guy, you know what I mean? I think we'll end up with the best result. But yeah, I don't know. Number one thing is consistency. I try to post more than one video a week, and then I'm probably going live a little bit too much, to be honest. Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't really even say that because I don't know, man. I don't think he ever should have been president, to be honest with you. I think he's done enough wrong in his lifetime that I don't think he should have been considered a presidential candidate at all. He, like just morally, you know what I mean? Just based on his actual ethics and values, you know what I mean, and the stuff that he's done. But at the same time, we did need somebody with like an actual business mind to be the president for a change. You know what I mean? Because Obama, he didn't really even know what he was doing. He was a young senator, and then Biden, he pretty much he was a career politician, so he'd been, he'd been whitewashed and everything, and I don't know. But yeah, he won against 2 women, so I mean, there's that. I'm somewhat of a writer. I should probably do a little bit more writing. I like being videographer. You know what I mean? Like I need to improve my camera skills a little bit more, but at the same time, I try to keep the camera low because you can't really film other people without their permission. You know what I mean? So I try to, if anything, I'm getting their feet or like their knee and under. You know what I mean? Because I would hate to get somebody like sue me or some shit because that could totally happen. You know what I mean? I'm just like trying to like make a YouTube channel and end up getting sued for $50,000 or some shit. But yeah. I'm trying not to create too much where it like bogs out the viewer. Sorry, I got a bunch of smoke in my eye. You know what I mean? Because I was posting daily, pretty much making an episode every day, and I just felt like it was probably a lot to the people. You know what I mean? So I kind of like slowed down a little bit and doing like a video every other day, or one every 3 days, kind of thing. At least doing 2 videos, sometimes 3 videos a week. But yeah, trying to keep the people hungry for more instead of overfeeding them by just rehashing the same thing a day, every day, And then it's a little less work, honestly. You know what I mean? I still do record the 2 days, and then it's like half the editing, kind of, sort of, because I'll take 2 episodes and then smash it into one. And then it makes the episode a little bit longer as well, so there's that. Because I like to click on videos that are longer than 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Hell, I like to click on hour-long videos just to, especially if it's something informative. Like a nice long hour-long fucking History Channel, some shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. My hobbies, pretty much current struggle is just the cops. Well, not really even the cops, but just feeling like I'm constantly on the run. Constantly gotta go, Gotta worry about how long I've been sitting in certain places, that kind of thing. But yeah, hobbies pretty much is just smoking weed and YouTube, man. Like if I'm not creating my own stuff on YouTube, I'm helping other creators by, like I'll go into other live streams and try to, I'll be commenting like you are, trying to boost their live, Because there's one guy pretty much I check out, he makes a video, he goes live 5 days a week at noon, which is kind of, it's kind of a tough time for some people to tune in, you know what I mean? It's even tough for me to tune in, and I try to, but I'll show up and he'll have like maybe 2 other viewers, and then he's putting a lot into it, man. He's putting a lot of shoulder into it. So I show up and I'll drop a bunch of comments, you know what I mean, trying to get the viewer engagement up, you know what I mean. I don't know, but yeah, that's pretty much what I do. But yeah, like, other than feeling like I'm constantly on the run, I don't know, I kind of enjoy living in the car. Like the amount of money that I make and the amount of money that I'm able to save from living in my car, because really the amount of money that I'm making, there should be no way I'm able to save, but because I'm refusing to pay over $1,000 a month just for a place to lay down. You know, it's like they want to make it illegal to sleep unless you're paying to live somewhere, basically, which is kind of fucked up. I feel like you should have a human right to sleep. If you see somebody sleeping, you shouldn't. I don't know. There's different rules to it. I don't know, man. But pretty much, there's a boat ramp that I sleep at. As long as I'm like up from the ramp a little bit, where the trucks have enough time, enough room where they can back their boat in and everything. That's one of the places I sleep, and I sleep out here at this campsite that I've got reserved. I don't know. I pretty much reserved it just to have it, like as a backup kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of far away from everything, so I don't really like going out there because it's extra mileage and everything. Boss man also said I can camp out in the parking lot of the job, so it's always a possibility. But it's off of a 6-lane highway, and there's a lot of homeless out there. So I'm afraid if I go to sleep there, I might wake up with my car being stolen, or wake up getting stabbed by somebody, or wake up and half the shit my car is missing. You know what I mean? So I pretty much don't even use that as an option. But yeah, I'll go there. I might sleep during the day or something, like take a nap or something like that. Really, that's what I should do, is like make myself stay up and get in the routine of making myself stay up till 6 a.m. and then going to sleep. That way, I don't know. But, just sleep during the morning. That way I don't even have to worry about anything happening at night, because I'll be up and doing something overnight anyway. You know what I mean? There's definitely a lot of cities where everything kind of slows down from, like, at least, I don't know. I just try to stick to myself. Keep myself entertained as best as I can on as little money as I can. But yeah. Waiting, like I said, back to this campsite tonight, because I got hot dogs out there waiting for me. I got the fire's already bundled up. It's ready. All I gotta do is light it, pretty much. I got this Duraflame log I put down underneath it, so once that lights, I'll just light the paper on that, and then the whole thing will take off. And I got a couple more logs sitting there ready to throw on when I need it. But the mosquitoes were pretty bad out there, so I don't know for sure if I'm gonna sleep out there all night. But I don't know, man. I got some bug spray and everything. I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I just do my thing. I work in retail, doing car parts, pretty much shuffling car parts around. It's a little bit like being a librarian, except for like moving the rotors and shit. The rotors are super duper fucking heavy. They're not bad, but when you've got 50 of them to move, it's they're heavy after a while. But I switched myself around. Just a week guy now, so I show up on Saturdays and Sundays, and it leaves me Monday to Friday. I'm just running the Uber driving. Whatever I make on the Uber, I hang out in small town. It's usually pretty slow, but everybody tips a little bit better. Mileage is a little bit better. You know what I mean? It's roughly about the same on the mileage, but it does, I don't know, it does seem like it ends up paying way better through the tippage. I'll get 9 deliveries basically out here in the small town. Whereas if I was in the city, I might could get like 21 deliveries, but the 21 deliveries will pay a lot less. Like the 9 that I'll get out here might even pay more than running 21 in the bigger city. A lot of people I can get $14 orders or $18 orders. You know what I mean? And in the bigger town, I'm getting a lot of 7s and 3s, and just takes a while to stack it up. But yeah, pretty hot, man. What's the temperature? It's 69 degrees. I'm sweating, man. Put these windows down a little bit. Let more of the air pass through the car. But yeah, it's not too bad, man. It's all a mentality thing, and I don't know. It's pretty much, it was a relationship that brought me to here. Living with a girl for the last 9, 10 years, and like people are better in smaller doses. You know what I mean? Just after 9, 10 years of living with her, she just finally got sick of me and sick of my shit, and threw me out. Still trying to save what I can of that relationship, just because I've already invested so much of my time and my life into that relationship. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know which way that's even gonna go. And so I'm trying to rebuild on my own with just one income. You know what I mean? Just one person's income ability. So that's why I'm trying to push 2 jobs as much as I can, at least through through selling car parts and running Uber. The 2 jobs kind of bounce off each other pretty well, because if I need any kind of minor repair for the car, I can get it through working. You know what I mean? And get a discount on it and shit. Certain points of the year, they give us like 40% off, which is huge on car parts. You know. But yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. I end up making more to do the Uber driving, so I don't. You know what I mean? I don't really. Not trying to be locked into the job at 40 hours a week there, because I'm not really the best fit. I'm just trying to do what I can to make some money, you know. And then also driving around for the Uber, there's opportunity where you see somebody, and because I got I don't, not in my, like, you have like a bio on Uber, like, it's like, why do I deliver? I didn't say flat out like I am homeless. You know what I mean? But I said, basically I'm saving, I'm working this as a second job because the regular job doesn't give me enough hours, and I feel like this pays better. I'm trying to save money because I'm trying to get my own place to live. You know what I mean? I didn't put like I am homeless, but if people read it the right way, they'll be like, oh my god, this guy, like, yeah. You know what I mean? And sometimes I do get the people that actually stop and read it, and I'll end up making $5 more than I was predicted to make on the order. You know what I mean? Some people have slipped me $40 as a tip. Had a couple of people I get there, and then they slip. They paid me 15, and then I get there, and then they give me another $20 cash. Hell yeah. Cost plus 5% at my job. Hell yeah. I'm not sure what that means. The cost of the part plus 5%. That's the price that you pay. That's not bad. Yeah, that's pretty good, dude. That might as well be like 50% off. Hell yeah. The hell? Hey, Dylan Epstein, how you doing, man? I'm just playing. I should have said that. I'm sorry. You're probably gonna unsubscribe now. I'm sorry, man. How you doing, though? I won't ever do it again, man. I'm sorry. I think longer deliveries are better for the car than more shorter. That's the way I feel too. More highway driving, and in the highway miles, man, they believe, 8 miles down the highway at 55, it doesn't take long at all. But all the stop and go, stop, go, stop, go, when I got to go through 20 lights to get somewhere, you know what I mean? Just beats the shit out of my pistons, I know. Like, why is like every reggae song has the same exact beat? Welcome to Florida. Yeah, that's all you need is like some 20% THC weed, as long as you got that. And either keep a joint rolled or your bowl full, you're all right. The rest is downhill. Yeah, sometimes I like to do this and just go like, "What? I'm already retired. What do you mean?" There's a lot of people that are retired and they still have to like Uber drive or something to make ends meet. You know, like, that's what I don't know. I try to look at it that way. Like I'm just part-time retired because I might not even live long enough to be retired. So that's pretty much where I'm like, you know, fuck it, I'll just be a part-timer. Like 4 days off every week sounds cool, you know, rather than being a full-timer and then like when you need a day, like this is a guy I got this from another, you know, but it was a good point. When you're a full-timer and then you need an extra day off for something, you know, like even like you need it like even once a month. Say you do it once a month, you're gonna be a shitty employee just because you like, you know, your 5 day week, one of those out of the 4 in the week, you know, the 4 in the month, one of those days you need off for whatever reason, you know. But if it's not like court or probation or, you know, like, you know, extreme family emergency, your boss and your job, they're gonna treat you like shit because like, oh, you're supposed to be full time, blah, blah, blah. But if you're a part-time employee and you need an extra day off anywhere, somewhere, it won't really matter because you're part-time anyway. You know, like any other person can, like, you know, they'll just be like, all right, well, what's more hours for this guy? Then he's been asking me for more hours, so you don't want to come in on Saturday. You know, it's all right. Well, you know, just make sure you reiterate the fact that it's only, you know, just that 1 week that you need the Saturday off this week or whatever. But it's like it's easier to get it when you're part time, and when you're full time, they want to act like you're breaking their leg. You know, like, what do you need? What do you mean you need Tuesday off? What? You know. But if you're a part timer, it's like I need Tuesday off. They're like, well, all right, you know, I guess. Because like they don't really care about you anyway. You know what I mean? As a part timer, that's like they just really don't even really care about you. You just do what you do. I don't know. But I was listening to that earlier, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. Pretty hard. But yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Love each and every one of you. You know, if I end up, you know, do make it, you know, or something, and y'all need help, just reach out to me. You know, I'll try to help you out as best I can. You know what I mean? If I'm not a millionaire myself, you know, I can't necessarily, you know, give you like 10 grand or nothing, but you know, I'll try to help you out. You know, if you hit me up saying you're hungry or whatever. I appreciate y'all. Because you know, it's not even possible without y'all in the first place, you know. But yeah, just some dudes slinging car parts and driving around in my car, trying not to beat it up too much in between. I don't even really listen to too much music, like as much as I'm in the car and driving around and shit. Like pretty much that dude Sad Clowns that y'all might have heard of by now. That was like pretty much the only music I've been listening to was just his, and I'm kind of pissed off. YouTube is shutting his whole channel down on him. Because I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do. Like he's gonna put the music somewhere else. He's gonna put it on another platform or something. You know what I mean? But I don't know. A couple of his songs, like I'll need to hear again. You know? I don't know. But yeah, just try to keep doing my thing, man. I don't know if this is gonna work. Put this up. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's working now. Here we go. I get a few people, you know, come in here and they get like, you say you got like some kind of Jack Black vibe going on kind of thing. So I don't know. I try to run with that a little bit, but I'm also a little bit more chill than Jack Black. Well, I'm probably like Jack Black when he's not on screen. You know what I mean? He's probably more chill than he is when he's like on a talk show or something. It'd be cool to smoke a joint with like Seth Rogen. That's like my dream at some point. Like if I get big enough that Seth Rogen ever he recognizes me or he's watching my live one day or something. I want them to know, like, I do want to smoke a joint with you, bro. Like, and since COVID, I really don't want to smoke a joint with anybody because, you know, like the way you roll it up and everything, you know what I mean? I'm really not trying to be basically making out with whoever rolled the joint, you know what I mean? But if it was Seth Rogen, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. I want to smoke a joint with you, man. And you know Seth Rogen would have some pretty good weed too, you know what I mean? You'd probably be fucked up for a day. Well, yeah, that's my dream. You know, not like he's like my dream celebrity. You know what I mean? But I don't really have a dream celebrity like somebody that you'd want to meet before you die. I mean, I guess it would be Seth Rogen. You know what I mean? But yeah. I do appreciate y'all hanging out. Thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time tuning in, pretty much I try to go live, pre-scheduled lives. Doing the Saturday night slowdown, 10 o'clock. And Monday night, we're doing the Monday night mood. And then Wednesday night, I got the Humpday Hangout. Pretty much, I'm going to, you know, I still might go live here and there in between on top of that, too. You know, just because every time I go live, you know, I got the opportunity of making a new subscriber. You know what I mean? Even if it's just one more subscriber. Bumping into somebody that hangs out for more than 10 seconds to actually, like, hear some of my story. You know what I mean? It does take a lot. It's a lot of, you know what I mean? A lot of people coming in and out, and you start to say something, and the moment you start to say something, it goes back down to zero. And you're like, well, fuck you then. Get the hell out of here. Bye, you idiot. Why did you stay so long? But basically, it's people that can't respect the grind. You know what I mean? I don't know. Everybody's trying to do something to get by. No, man. What's up, here? This is the first time I'm reading your name. What's up, man? Why Prim? I remember you, big head. I loved it in like James Bond, the Golden Eye, big head. When you put on DK mode, it was just so easy. It was pop. It was shooting everybody in the head. Some Super Smash Brothers, man. Hell yeah. Takes me back. What is your problem? Go home. This is my home. Paintball mode, all that shit. Fucking, I don't know when did invincibility, right? When did invincibility turn into God mode? You know what I mean? I don't know why people started calling invincibility God mode. You know what I mean? Because like to me, God mode, it's like, okay, well then change the weather, fly. You know, fucking rip the you know, rip the digital space that we're standing on in half. You know, just like that's just invincibility to me. I don't know. People call it God mode. I don't know. I guess that's us trying to say we're like God. We're in God mode. What the fuck is wrong with that dog, man? But anyway, I don't know. Big head mode, it does help. It helps people stay for like longer than 10 seconds sometimes. Sometimes I'll do the big head mode and be shirtless. So stay tuned for that. I don't know. Thinking, man. Just gonna keep smoking, man. Fuck it. I should probably move from out of this spot though, because I don't want to have the cops called. I figure that they'll probably come out and ask me to leave before they just call the cops. I don't know. Yeah. And man, hell yeah, man. If you do, man, it'd be nice to, two of us be fucking camping, a couple car spots away, a couple parking spots from each other. We can kind of keep an eye on each other. You know what I mean? It'd be nice to have like a road dog in this. I'm not saying you should move to Florida, but you know what I mean. Maybe keep ties where you are, right? You can come down. We can do winters down here in Florida, and then do the summers up there. You know what I mean? That's really the way to do it. Like because like if I could talk my job into doing it, just like, hey, can y'all just work me for 6 months, and then I can go up north and find something else to do that I can do for 6 months up there. Pretty much from March till October 1st, be up north, and then in October 1st, come on down for, make sure you make it to work October 7th or some shit, and work until March, work until April 1st again. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the shitty part is the land that I was looking at, I need to kind of like stop even looking at, because it's gonna have too many restrictions on it. I'm not even gonna be able to do anything with it. I'm gonna be paying for something that I probably won't even be able to park my car on, which that part sucks. So now I'm leaning in toward, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and get the van. I don't know, because the van, it's a decent upgrade to the van. You know what I mean? And I can just keep stormtrooping around, finding a place to park, and keep saving money. You know what I mean? Because you know me, I think $1 million Bitcoin is inevitable, and if I can, the bigger of a chunk of Bitcoin that I can get, maybe I can get to half of a coin even before it gets to $1 million, and then have $500,000 worth, my value in Bitcoin. You know what I mean? I don't know. And then once I had the 500,000, I could probably actually have leverage to, you know what I mean? I could just go ahead and buy a 2-bedroom house at that point, whether it's got to be 1,000 square foot minimum or not. It wouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Wouldn't have to pay for the extras like granite countertops and, you know what I mean? I'd probably do a metal roof rather than shingles, because with a hurricane, it just rips shingles right off anyway. For the most part, I mean, after a few years, it's pretty much when you have to get your roof redone, is because you need it re-shingled or whatever. But with the metal roof, it stays there until it rusts away, basically. And you could even just resurface it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Certain things like that. The Bitcoin really paid off. Like building a house. I don't know. Maybe even getting enough of a following, I might even be able to run for a politician, be like a real person actually being a politician. I thought of that too, because I had, the beginnings that I had and everything, man. I don't know. I would make a pretty good governor versus the dickheads that they've been putting in there. And granted, at the same time, I wouldn't know shit about what I'm doing. There's a lot that I would need to learn. I really wouldn't be a good governor. But I don't know. I don't know. That's actually a stupid idea. Forget I said that. But yeah, I try to stay positive. That's the only thing you can do, you know what I mean? Like either you continue to stand there and get peed on, or you get the fuck out of the way, you know what I mean? What's up with the dog? Ooh. But yeah, pretty much hobbies, man. I used to play video games pretty hard. I liked Did about 2,000 hours on Red Dead Redemption 2. Did about 2,000 hours on GTA 5 online. Never played the GTA 5 storyline. You know, like I need, you know, it's one of the things I wanted to do, but I don't know, I spent so much time in the online. Quantum AI team found a way to crack Bitcoin's encryption using 20 times fewer resources than previously thought. Wow. Yeah, they've been saying for a while if that happens, they would just put the Bitcoin code, like just close it down for a couple minutes and then restart it in quantum. Basically, is what they would do. They would pretty much know. They'd pretty much know because they would go after Satoshi's wallet. You would think, and then if Satoshi's wallet, if the coins ever move, we'll know that quantum hacked it. You know what I mean? Basically, what you're saying is that's what happens. They already broke it, but I don't know. That's what they've been saying. Is they would just take the whole protocol would just be moved over to quantum computing at that point, which would suck because I bet it would force people to have to like rebuy miners. They'd have to rebuy like quantum miners or something like that. I don't know, man. I think that's just fear. I don't think it's going anywhere. Like, because, I don't know. China, they want to ban it. You know what I mean? They keep wanting to ban it and then unban it and then ban it, then unban it. And I think really they're just putting their own people behind on, you know, what's going to happen anyway. Because we're about to hit an age of hyperinflation here in this country. Like, inflation like we've never even seen before in this country is about to happen. And so really the only safe place to put your money is into Bitcoin. It's like it's the lifeboat or the escape boat from that. It's to people that are wise enough that are buying into Bitcoin. That's ultimately what the play is going to be. That's what they say, at least. I don't know. Either that or like it's going to be a nuclear fallout. I feel like and that's why the people that are buying gold they might actually end up, you know, because you know if we do bomb everything and you know we go to a nuclear fallout, people will be trading in gold and silver again. I bet. But I bet at the same time Bitcoin will remain alive. Like even after a nuclear fallout, there'll still be some computers ticking away at Bitcoin, and be you know mining it, putting it in individual wallets and shit. So who knows what it could be 100 years from now, even after. You know what I mean? But no, I think it's honestly I think it's the Martian economy. We're building the Martian economy out of Earth economy, and we're you know like crypto is basically how we're gonna build the Martian economy. It's like every dollar that's invested in the crypto is helping with you know I don't know. But I remember being like in like a seminar about it like years ago. You know what I mean? I remember being like I can't remember the exact age, to be honest. I don't remember too well. But I want to say I was like between 5 and 8 years old. I remember being at a Bitcoin conference, like years before it was ever even like put on the internet, like as a thing. They were talking like they were like, this is gonna be the thing. This is gonna be what y'all are trading back and forth. This is gonna break the dollar. You know, they showed us like this is the current price of Bitcoin, and it was worth like a particle of dust. It was like a zero and then a decimal point and then like 7 more zeros and then finally a 1. You know, and they said this is the value, you know, like this is $1, right? And then they said this is worth this much right now. You know what I mean? And they were saying like it's still an idea, we're still working on it, we're trying to get all the kinks out of it. But they were pretty much telling us like where it was going, where it was going to be at 2040, where it was going to be at 2050, where it was going to be at 2060. You know, and they were telling us like the sooner you start to see it, the sooner you realize what we've been doing with it, that's when you should buy in. You shouldn't let it go any further past that. I can't, like I said, I can't remember the whole thing, but I definitely remember like in them being like, you know, at the end they were like, who wants to buy 1,000 Bitcoin right now for $1,000? And we all just kind of laughed. Like the whole room was like, what do you mean? Like, you know, like we just laughed out of the room. You know, like nobody understood what they were talking about. But I remember my grandmother, when she was sitting there, like during the seminar, she was like sitting there and like reading it. Basically, she could see the logarithm of it all. And she was like, "Oh my God, they're gonna devalue the dollar. They're gonna devalue the dollar all the way down to the price of the Chinese yuan." And my grandfather was like, he's like, "What? What are you talking about, Reggie?" And then she's like, look, it's on the screen. Look, they're creating a whole new currency that's gonna replace the dollar. She said, look how far back they did the decimal point on it. She's like, it's gonna fuck everything. You know, she could already see it. You know, my grandfather didn't even see it. I don't know. And then I remember my grandfather telling me about it in like 2011. I don't know. I was there at the Elks Lodge with him. We were cooking breakfast. That's just something we did, you know, kind of like a father and grandfather and grandson bonding thing. We'd go and wash dishes at the Elks Lodge once a Sunday, you know, once a month on a Sunday. And he was telling me like one of these days after we had breakfast and stuff, we were wrapping everything up, and he's like telling me about Bitcoin, and he's telling me it's energy. He said it's energy. It's like, you know, even the paper money that you have, it's energy. You put your time and your energy into producing it. He says this, you know, Bitcoin. He's like, there's only 21 million of them. He kept trying to tell me, you know, like reiterate, you know, he's like, as soon as you can buy it, you need to learn how to buy it and buy it. Because I didn't know how to mine it or nothing like that at that point. The best exchange, it's up to you, man. It depends on your own personal preference. I would say not Coinbase, but anything else, really. I mean, I prefer Robinhood, just because they're like a stock exchange and everything too. And then I like the name Robinhood, you know, like steal from the rich and give to the needy kind of thing. And Robinhood does give a lot of gifts out and stuff like that. Like this last Christmas, I got like $30 worth of different crypto. You know what I mean? I got some in Bitcoin, some in XRP, some in Solana. You know what I mean? But yeah, they gave me like 30. And when you get signed up for Robinhood, they'll give you a free stock. You got a chance of it being, you know, it could be like a $300 stock. You could get, a whole share of. Usually it's like a $5 or $10 stock that you get. You know what I mean? Whereas Coinbase, I don't think they give you anything when you sign up. I don't think they might give you like $5 a Bitcoin or something, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. Coinbase is better if you're trying to do exchange, like if you're into the day trading of it all and you're into meme coins and all that, you know, you're trying to do other than just Bitcoin. Coinbase would probably be the better place because they have the coins ahead of time. Some of them, you know what I mean? Like Robinhood won't, you know what I mean? Robinhood will be behind, like after the pump and, you know, it'll pump, get onto Robinhood, and then you buy into it on Robinhood, and then it dumps. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're on Coinbase, you can kind of get in on that pump ahead. You know what I mean? Because some of it you'll know it's like, oh, it's about to release to Robinhood, so that'll probably pump the price a little bit. You know what I mean? And then when it releases on Robinhood, you'll watch for it and then sell right at 10 a.m. when everybody else does. But I mean, you can buy Bitcoin from some gas station ATMs I've seen. It's weird how, like, I've seen gas stations sell Bitcoin, but they don't accept Bitcoin as payment, which I think is fucked up. You know what I mean? Like how you're selling it, but you can't use it here. You know what I mean? But really, it must be a thing like that comes later. You know what I mean? Like they can't yet. You know what I mean? And plus, it's a market cap thing because the market cap is still so small that if these big companies like say Apple were to buy into it, and Apple has a $3.8 trillion market cap last I saw. Bitcoin's market cap at only 1.4 trillion. Apple couldn't convert itself into Bitcoin without, like, they would need more of the network than is actually there currently. You know what I mean? Like we still have to build it up to the point where Apple eventually would have to you know what I mean? Apple would have to hold X amount of Bitcoin instead of having the dollar amount to hold its value. But Bitcoin's still so small, like I said, they can't buy 50% of it. You know what I mean? Because then too much of it will be controlled by one entity, and that'll affect the price too much. Because it's better to be circulated. You know what I mean? Keep it circulating. You know, like even Michael Saylor, how much that Michael Saylor is trying to accumulate is really going to be bad. If he gets to like 10% of the network, it's too much of it's going to be accumulated in one pocket, and he'll be able to manipulate the price, holding 10% of it easily. You know what I mean? If you have 10% of it, you sell, boom, you're gonna make the price drop like 6% easily because you set like 10% of the network just got sold. So it's gonna cause at least a 6% drop on the price, and then you can buy right back in, and then get like maybe 10.1%. And I don't know. It's just gonna be bad. He doesn't need any more than Satoshi's got, I feel like. And he might be wise enough that he won't. You know what I mean? He might get like another 50,000 coins because Satoshi's only got 950,000. He don't have a whole million. So he might accrue a million just to be more than whoever Satoshi, however much Satoshi has, whatever entity that is. But I see Satoshi's coins as if it was like a safety deposit box that'll never be touched. Like 5% of the network will remain to kind of keep the strength, even if the rest of the network sells, it's still going to hold at least 5%. You know what I mean? And then I won't sell, so I don't. The rest of the network's not going to sell. I've never bought or traded before, but I'm definitely feel like you're getting me motivated to try it. If you really are, you should check out Jack Mahlers. He's a young guy, so I mean, if you can vibe with him, you know what I mean. Give it like 5-10 minutes. Listen to it. Jack Mahlers. There is no second best. Look for it on YouTube. It's an hour long. Watch it because he explains the difference between abstract digital power and real world physical power, and then how we're basically taking how they combined to create a price for Bitcoin based off the price of what the energy it took, the amount of electricity it took to send an email over the internet, right? For me to send you an email, how much electricity that used, they figured out a price for that, and that's what they originally priced Bitcoin at, right? And it's been growing since then, from people buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling, and the price slowly rising from the price it was, where it was worth like a millionth of a cent originally. But yeah, he talks about it better than I am. You know what I mean? But yeah, his name is Jack Mahlers. He's like a 25-year-old dude. He knows about it from his dad. You know what I mean? It's really his dad. He's like a child prodigy in it, basically. But anyway, he does, like, he explains how, like, Mark Zuckerberg, he's one of the most powerful and influential men on the planet, and then he can touch a button on the dashboard of his car and turn off Facebook, and it would devastate billions of lives. You know what I mean? Billions of people would be like, what the fuck? What do I do? Where's Facebook? You know what I mean? And all he did was turn it off, right? He's that powerful, but he has no actual real power. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to come and punch us in the face. He's a nerd. You know what I mean? But he still holds all this abstract power from the company that he has and the pull that it has on the whole planet. You know what I mean? How we're psychologically driven to his website, but yeah, and he explains the difference between, like, military power. Military power is like, physical power you can see. It's strength. It's like muscle. Like, I wouldn't fuck with him. He would beat my ass. He's 6'4" and 280 pounds of solid muscle. Let me let's not piss him off. Pretty much like the U.S. government, we have a lot of physical power with our military. You know what I mean? And the alliances that we have and everything. You know what I mean? But yeah, he explains, like, I don't know. He gets into it, man, and he explains why there is no second best. There's Bitcoin, and then there's crypto. But I don't know. The only one that makes any sense when he explains it all is Dogecoin, which is because they both operate on the proof of work consensus, where it's real world. Your time and your energy invested into this other currency. You know what I mean? This other currency that's based off of the amount of power it takes to produce it in the first place. You know what I mean? It's like you're buying your spot in line in the new economy. But I would try Robinhood, because Robinhood's kind of easy to use. You know what I mean? It's user friendly. Even get 1%, man. It's like $700. You can get 1% of a Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And if you're to the point where $700 won't make or break you, just to see what it'll be in 10 years, you know what I mean? Have a piece of what it'll be, because it's only 17 years old now. You know what I mean? A lot of the reason the price crashed is because there's a lot of people that have been in it for the last 10, 15 years, and they were waiting for it to get to that $1 trillion market cap. You know what I mean? They were waiting on it hitting 100K for them to sell out, you know, buy out, you know. That's why it's kind of crashed, but at the same time, it's only crashed so much. It didn't crash all the way down to 30K like they're predicting. It could still fall some more, but I don't think it's highly unlikely because it's already it's already had like a 50% drawdown, you know. Especially now that they're getting rid of the penny and everything too. Like they've got a, I'm pretty sure they're gonna create like some kind of digital form of it where they'll, instead of ripping us off of the penny, they'll pay us digital pennies. You know what I mean? They might just rip us off with the pennies. I don't know. But even here at the store, like since they got rid of the penny, they either round up or round down on you. You know all about that being in Canada. But yeah, they nickel and dime the fuck. They literally nickel and dime every purchase you make. You know what I mean? And then where does that access change? Where does that really go? Where is that going? Is that going to the education system? Probably not. You know, is it going to defense spending? Probably not. It's probably going in the pockets of, you know, whatever politician, and then he passes it to whatever corporation he's behind. I gotta stop being so serious. They'll cut down the live stream on me. But yeah, I don't, you know what I mean? Even just, like I said, 1%'s not, it shouldn't make or break you. I'm sorry if it does, you know what I mean? But to give yourself time to do it, you know what I mean? Don't do it like tomorrow. Give yourself a couple of months or a couple of years to do it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think, you know, basically the way that the dollar and the euro kind of balance out at each other, you know, whereas the euro has got a bunch of different countries to back it and all the history of all those different countries, that's kind of what backs the euro. And the dollar was backed by gold. That's what originally, you know, that's what originally gave it its value, was that it was backed by gold. But now its value is held in how much it's worth, you know, how much oil you can buy with the dollar. It's pretty much what holds its value today. And it's allowed gold to just go to whatever number, you know, because they can print freely based on the oil pumping out of the ground. So they used to be able to print to match how much gold that we had in reserve, basically. You know what I mean? We could only print so much because we were holding on to so much gold. And they got to the point where they had like double the loan to value. Basically, they had, you know, double the amount of cash as they had in gold, you know, stored away somewhere. And then we got all the way to the point where we had like 5%, you know, we only had like 5% of the dollars that were out there in circulation. We had like 5% of the actual gold to back with. And then France called us out on it. France was like, okay, we want to convert our dollars and get the gold that's in your reserve for our dollars that we've been holding. And then Nixon was like, oh, well, here, I just signed this, and so now the dollar is no longer convertible into gold. And then he basically got together with Saudi Arabia or whatever to do that, you know what I mean, where they turned the dollar into a petrodollar, basically. And that's basically where we're at today, where the dollar being based off its value in oil is kind of falling apart, and the time structure of the dollar per hour is kind of falling apart, you know. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like in Rick and Morty, you remember when Rick and Morty, when he broke into the intergalactic government or whatever, and he changed the currency from being worth 1 of itself to being worth 0 of itself. We're, you know, instead of that happening instantaneously, we're watching that happen like probably over the next 2-3 generations. Like the dollar's not going to go to like, it's not going to go down to like absolute 0 like it did in that, you know what I mean? But they're just gonna, I don't know, they're gonna 8x the current supply of dollars. And then at the same time, Europe is supposed to match us on that, right? And when we 8x the current supply of dollars versus euros, you know, because there's a balance there, right? But when we 8x that supply, we're going to then equal the yuan at the same time, right? So then they'll have like a 3-way balance between the Chinese yuan, the US dollar, and the euro. All 3 of them will kind of equal to each other. But to do that in the meantime, they're going to have to print like crazy here and there. You know what I mean? Because our standards of living are just like, we're you know what I mean? The American standard of living is too lavish compared to the rest of the world. And they're like, see, I've just lost a lot of viewers because people don't want to accept it, but that's literally what's going to happen. And it's the same thing that happened in Germany, which pretty much caused World War II to happen. Basically, their currency fell to shit because their government just kept printing and printing and printing, but then they didn't acquire more gold to where they could match what they were printing. And so their currency pretty much throughout the day would lose more and more value. You know, you'd have $1,000, and then by the end of the day, you know, I don't know, they just kept adding more zeros onto their bills, basically. And their bills, I don't know, I was watching a thing on it, and they were basically saying, like, you had to go shopping at 8 a.m. every day. You had to do all your shopping before 9 a.m. because if you went to the store after 4 p.m., the prices were going to be higher. They would have raised the prices twice throughout the day. I think it'll be the Chinese yuan, man. Or like I said, they'll build a three-way system where they're all equal to each other anyway. You know what I mean? So I mean, we'll all three of us will be the reserve currency. You know, between Europe, and then since the euro and the dollar, you know, the Australian dollar is gonna be held kind of similar to, you know what I mean? I don't think you'll have too much to worry about. I mean, other than like if you already have a house, you know what I mean, you won't have to worry about, you know what I mean? You don't have to worry about your $400,000 house that I'm trying to buy turning into a $2 million house, and then you just flat out not being able to afford it at all because you're being overinflated. You know what I mean? You're being priced out of even being able to eat. But no, like I don't know. I think honestly it'd be a better picture too if the dollar wasn't the global reserve currency, if it was like a three-way pendulum between the three currencies that are really the global reserve currency. And you know what I mean, the bigger picture of things. Because China's got a pretty powerful economy, you know what I mean? And then Russia, I'm not exactly sure what's going. Like Russia's currency, I'm not sure what's going to happen with theirs. You know what I mean? Because they're their own system. I have no. They don't really even. Me as U.S. citizen, they don't really tell us a whole lot of what's going on in Russia, other than like if Trump is going to talk to Putin directly. You know what I mean? But Russia knows that we plan on taking that $40 trillion in debt that we currently have. Russia knows that we plan on putting that into Bitcoin's total account somehow. You know what I mean? Which that's if Bitcoin goes to 20 trillion in market cap, if somehow we can take that $40 trillion and then put it into Bitcoin's market cap somehow, like holy fuck, dude, you're looking at 3 million per coin just off us being able to do that somehow. I don't know how exactly that's going to play out, but you know what I mean? Like what if the US government is Satoshi, and then you know Bitcoin ever gets big enough to that point where Satoshi could just reveal himself and then be like, boom, okay, we're no longer in debt, no how, you know what I mean? I don't know how it's actually going to play out, but like Russia already knows that that's kind of what we're planning with the whole crypto market. But it's a whole new technology, taking your currency and then encrypting it into a computer for the computer to count it. You know what I mean? Where the computer's way more accurate than a human trying to count things. You know what I mean? Especially when you over decimalize it. You know what I mean? When you go that far back on the decimal point, you know, and it's all logarithm, it's all mathematic, you know, I don't know. I'm more or less trying to give Kev what information that I know. You know what I mean? I'm trying to let him know what I know. I'm sorry, Fred. I know you don't like hearing about it too much. And then really it's a generation thing. You know what I mean? Because like if you're 70, there's really no potential for Bitcoin to affect your life that much because you'll probably be gone. I'm not trying to be a dick, but if you're 70, you've got less than 20 years left in most cases. You know what I mean? So you can't really plan on holding on to Bitcoin for 20 years to have it pay off for you. So that's, you know, a lot of people turn their nose against it because of that. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it is. But as the kids that are 12 years old, There's some kids that are 12 that are already putting their money into crypto. You know what I mean? As people get, the young kids get older to the point where they start having their own job, start trying to buy things for themselves. They might see that they don't want to buy all this other shit. I don't know, because I almost bought today. I saw a copy of Red Dead Redemption and a copy of GTA 5, and I could have bought brand new, still wrapped in plastic. I could buy just to hold them for 10 years and then resell them later, right? Same thing I'm doing with Bitcoin, right? But at the same time, for me to buy these games, I'd have to then pay to store them and protect them for that whole time, so that they keep that value of being, still wrapped in cellophane new from the store. You know what I mean? But yeah, say, if I bought Red Dead Redemption 2 for $20 and then held on to it for 10 years and then tried to put it on eBay for $200 or some shit, you know what I mean? And also with the amount of inflation and shit, it'd probably be like $50. You know what I mean? So I don't because I was buying pops, those little bobbleheads. I was like, they were less than $10 and they looked pretty cool. I was buying it just as like, look how much Beanie Babies, there's Beanie Babies I've held in my hand that are worth $250,000. Beanie Babies I've held, and I'm like, oh, well, my sister used to have that one. You know, you know what I mean? Like, and they're worth like $500,000, $250,000 Beanie Babies. It's pretty much the same opportunity you got with the pops, but the pops were overly produced and stuff too, so they can't. You know what I mean? It won't be the same, but at the same time, you can. There's possibility for an upside on that. But like I said, then you gotta the box and everything that it's in too. You gotta keep everything perfect condition. So even if you put it in a storage unit, you gotta make sure it's a decent storage unit somewhere. And if you don't have the space at your house, like you want to have it on display, if you do have it on display, you gotta be constantly dusting it. But you don't have to do all that with Bitcoin. You just buy it and you custody it. You put it in a hard wallet, and it's not even attached to the internet anymore at that point. If you put it in a cold storage hard wallet, you're fine. Just remember your seed phrase. You know what I mean? Make sure a couple family members know your seed phrase in case anything happens to you. That way, whatever wealth that you did accrue can be passed on to somebody else. Hopefully they use it the right way. But I don't know. Right now I got 11%, and I'm trying to get another 10% before I get priced out of being able to buy any, basically. Because when it's over $250,000, I'm not going to want to buy it. You know what I mean? Because it'll be too pricey. But it'll probably get to the point where we'll need it to give it to AI. That's basically what they're saying to some extent too, because the AI is going to see right through the fiat currency right off rip. They're not going to want fiat currency at all. Any nation currency they're not going to want if there's a global currency that exists. You know what I mean? And if an AI gets smart enough that we need to pay it to operate for us, it'll definitely want to be paid in Bitcoin. And then for it to transact and stuff too, it's like you have a currency that you can transport across borders instantaneously, as fast as the electric can move. I don't know. And the technology's not going anywhere. It's only going to get more adopted. Right. And it's like, any of the tech companies too, like, it's funny how like all of the oil companies, like if you look at the top 10 global companies in 2001 and the top 10 global companies in 2025, right? In 2001 it was a bunch of oil companies. About 7 out of 10 of them were oil companies. Now in 2025, it's Nvidia and Apple and Facebook, and it's all these tech companies that replaced oil companies. You know what I mean? Like the world's changing. You know what I mean? Clearly. And the internet's not going anywhere. That's why I'm making the play that the internet native digital currency is going to actually end up taking over. Because it'll be like the world's hottest collectible. It's like a massive You know, it's like a big MMORPG. We're all playing with each other, trying to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. Or like, think about it. A friend of mine, their mom had some kind of daggers, right? These two daggers that were from World of Warcraft or something, all right? These daggers were so rare in the game that somebody offered her $75,000 cash for these for these digital items that existed only in World of Warcraft, but they were worth $75,000 at least to this guy or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know whatever happened, you know, what the end of that story was, you know what I mean? If he ended up buying them and then reselling them for 150 or what, but you know what I mean? The friend could have just been bullshitting me, but still, you know, so there's definitely occurrences like that that have happened, you know what I mean? Where there's an item that exists in a game that's worth real world money somehow or another. You know what I mean? I mean, look at Fortnite with V-Bucks or GTA with shark cards. You know, like GTA basically found a way to print their own money by selling shark cards where you get GTA dollars. You trade 100 real world dollars for 10 million GTA dollars. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I'll stop. I'm sorry. I should have stopped a while ago. I'm sorry, Fred. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it's stuff I can buy a boat with later, you know. And in the meantime, like I said, I don't know anywhere else I really want to put my money. Like I could buy some Tesla, but I feel like I already kind of missed the wave on that. You know, Tesla's kind of expensive. It's down a little bit, but you know, like how much is that even gonna? You know, if I were to buy a share of Tesla for $300, because I honestly think we're moving to electric cars, whether we want to or not. It doesn't matter how loud the rednecks scream, how much they cry. We're gonna all have electric motors. You know, in the next 100 years, I bet at some point. As long as if we keep the four wheels in a car, we're definitely going to switch to an electric engine or, you know, four electric motors on all four wheels. You know what I mean? It's definitely the move. You know what I mean? But, you know, another company could come up and create cars cheaper than Tesla, and then therefore, you know, like Toyota, let's say, Toyota or Honda starts making electric cars, then Tesla gets dwarfed. You know what I mean? Because if say Toyota's making an electric car for like 20 grand somehow, you know, which they probably already are. I'm just not that aware. But Tesla's got a lot of power to it with the name too. It's got a lot of strength. Brand, you know, it's a brand people know. You know, but at the same time, like I'm saying, the original thought. I could buy a Tesla share. I don't even know. I think it's between 300 and 400 right now. But I think at the most it'll probably hit 2K, right? Because it's only so much it can actually absorb for its market cap. You know, say they'll split the stock or whatever. It's, you know, do reverse split. You know, this, that, the other. I'll have to have five stocks. That five stocks, when they do a reverse split, it'll only be one stock. And if I don't have enough money to buy five stock, they'll just sell me out. They'll just buy my one stock off me basically and shut. You know, that doesn't happen with Bitcoin. It's going to stay 21 million. They can't, you know, decide they're going to split it into 42 million. You know what I mean? They'd have to get everybody on the planet to agree. You know what I mean? It's a global conglomeration at this point, you know. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know where else I'd really want to put my money because, like, I think Tesla would probably be the next best thing because Microsoft, I feel like, is on its way out. It'll probably be replaced by something else. Nvidia, the only reason Nvidia is doing so good selling graphics cards is because of the computer mining. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's literally people buying like 8 graphics cards just to wire them all together just to mine these other coins with. That's really why Nvidia's stock has been blowing up because they're basically selling weapons for us to fight the digital currency war with each other. You know, but yeah, and then you got Facebook, and Facebook's already about as big as it is. You know, I think it's going to more or less fizzle out from as big as it is now. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't make any sense to really buy into Facebook. Same thing with Walmart. I don't really think it makes any sense to buy into Walmart. Amazon could get bigger, but at the same time, Amazon's already $200 to $300 for a share. And like, again, I think at the most it might 10x, it might go up to 2K. You know what I mean? And that's it's already pretty big. How much bigger can it get? You know what I mean? Like, you know, granted, it could probably double in size from where it's at. The current amount of employees they have or whatever, they could double. But like, I don't know. Like, we all know what Amazon is by this point. We all give them X amount of our money already. You know what I mean? Whatever money they're not getting, it's because it's going so many other places. As you know what I mean? How much bigger can they really get? You know what I mean? I don't know where else I'd really, if I were to invest, whatever money I have extra to invest, I don't know where else it would go. Right. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're gambling on Amazon getting 10 times bigger from how big it is, or you're gambling on Google getting 10 times bigger from however big it is, or even twice as big. You know what I mean? And then you need to put your money somewhere it's going to double, basically, because you got to find a way to put your money to work for you. Otherwise, you're not going to make it. Yeah. But again, but I appreciate y'all hanging out more than anything, man. This is supposed to be a hangout, man. I probably should go ahead and head on back down to the campsite. Make sure an animal ain't got into my bag and ate my hot dogs.
Normal voltage.
It's actually a pretty good idea. I don't know.
Waiting connection.
Remember, safety second. Work first, safety second, family third. Everybody knows. I should have refilled my drink. It was kind of dumb. I should have just waited there until I drank the whole drink and then refilled it. Hang on, I'm gonna turn off that. There we go. Chilling. When I get out to the campsite, the signal might not be the best, so it'll probably disconnect. Yeah, if I get to the point, right, fingers crossed, right, if I get to the point where I've got 0.21 in Bitcoin, and then say Bitcoin's also at $1 million minimum, I'll have $210,000, and then I could withdraw 4% a year on that, as long as Bitcoin goes up by at least 4% a year, right? Which it won't every single year. You know what I mean? It's the market. You know what I mean? But there's some years it'll probably go up by 20% still. As long as Bitcoin goes up by at least 4% on average each year, I can withdraw 4%, and then it won't even affect, you know, how much worth I'll actually have by withdrawing the 4%. And then, you know, but yeah, it's still so young too, man. Like, it's only 17 years old. I can only, you know, we can only imagine where it's going to be in another 17, 20 years from now. But, I don't know, man. Sorry. Fred probably left because I was talking about Bitcoin so much. Almost to the campsite now. When I get there, I'm gonna smoke a big fat bowl, so it'll help me change topics real good. But yeah, they got one trail that's on this side of the street. It's a big trail. It's like a 5-mile trail or something like that. It takes you over, you know, like a 2-hour trail or something like that to walk the whole thing. And then they got this other trail on this side of the street. This trail, they've got signs, you know, they got signs where you can camp. You know what I mean? You're supposed to reserve the site, but you can, there's a bunch of other camping spots that people have made over the years. Or even if, you know, say the one person that's at that reserved spot, you can still sneak back there and find another spot. But this is only like a half-hour trail though. I normally park all the way up over here. Watch the edge. That's good. Roll the windows back down. Hopefully the bugs don't start flying in here. Chilling, man. Made it back. All right. Thought I heard something out there in the woods. There are deer out here. They're like medium sized because they're, you know, not like Florida. But yeah, I saw a pack of deer. I see deer out here on this road constantly. And then there's like a river, you know what I mean? So it makes sense that they'd be going through these woods to get to the water, you know what I mean? I don't want to. I almost read that the wrong way. Like, all I read was I don't want to pull out, and then I was like, all my eggs. Right? You don't have to. I mean, like I said, just $700. You know what I mean? Just for shit's sake, you know. I feel like it's like buying into. You know what I mean? If you could have bought into telephones 10 years after they came out, right? Or if you could have bought into electricity 10 years after general, you know, right when they were still putting the power lines up and everything, you could have bought, you could, you know what I mean? If you could go back in time and buy shares of General Electric, you know what I mean? It's kind of like we have that opportunity with Bitcoin today. You know what I mean? But so many people are looking the other direction on it. Like 98% of the world either isn't wised up or just won't wise up. You know what I mean? Because they just dismiss it as a scam. But it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? It's a scam on a global scale that's not going to disappear at this point. So it's like you kind of either have to join us or, you know, work for us at some point probably. And there's probably, you know, it's, I don't know, dude. So ultimately there could be a Bitcoiner that's manipulating there could be a Bitcoiner that owns the store that I'm working at. You know what I mean? And the reason I'm getting shortage of hours to have to even drive for Uber. You know what I mean? I don't know. Probably it's all part of the story. You know what I mean? But yeah. Right. And that's the other thing, man. Like, I mean, for 1%, like I'm saying, for $700, you know what I mean? 1%, $700, and then that way you don't have to be in your rocker at 80 years old and being like, damn, man, fuck, man, fuck. Like I had, half a dozen people telling me about Bitcoin before I actually went online and looked at the white paper, or watched like 10 hours of YouTube videos. I was mining it. And then not knowing, I didn't even know enough about it when I was mining it. But like that's what I'm saying. I figured out how to mine it. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box or whatever you want to say. However much of a dick you want to be about it. You know what I mean? But I figured out how to mine it, and I didn't even know who the creator of it was. I didn't even know there was only 21 million of them when I was mining it. And I kind of knew, but I didn't know as much as I know now. Where I'm like, there's only 21 million. There's 21 million of them for us to divide somehow between everybody on Earth. You know, greater fool theory is the skeptical angle, hoping for a big sucker to pay you more than you paid for it, right? But that's going to happen either way. That happens with anything, man. Like even me working in retail, that's all that's going on. It's some suckers coming in. We bought an alternator for $110, and some sucker's gonna have to come in here, pay us $250 for it. You know, and then I make a small cut. I don't get a commission, but I get an hourly wage for being the guy that's there because you can't really, we can't have a robot do that at this point. You can't just. There's a lot of phone involved with it. People don't want to just get on the internet and look and see like, do y'all have the part, or they'd rather call and then we can go and physically check. You know what I mean? It'd be hard to put a robot into that position right away. You know what I mean? That's another side of things too, like with AI and the uprise of robotics and all that stuff. But where I'm at, like I said, there's too much call, where a lot of people, they don't want to go online and look. Where I'm at today, literally, people will come in and they'll be like, what about the other store? Does the other store have it? And I can see all that on the computer. I'm, basically data entry. They'll come in and be like, oh, I got a 2014 Ford F-150 and I need a water pump for it, right? And I'll type it in the computer, 2014 Ford F-150 water pump. The same thing they could have done, right? But for some reason, they have to come into the store. It's more personable. I get it. It's a customer service thing. You know what I mean? You don't want to lose customer service the whole way through, But yeah, they come in, I just type it in the computer, and then it tells me tells me if we have the part or not. If we don't have it, what other store has it? And then I tell them another store has it, and I'll tell them, like, go ahead and call before you drive all the way out there. It could be 20 minutes away from our store to the other store. I'm like, go ahead and call them, because the computer can lie to us and say that we have one, but we don't actually have one when we go to look. So I was like, go ahead and call and make sure that they have it. And then the people are like, oh, can you call them? And I'm like, yeah, I can, but it'd be easy. I got a bunch of shit going on and more customers behind them. It'd be easier if they could just pull out their phone and Google it, like you Google directions to somewhere, you know what I mean? But it's, you know what I mean? You still need a person there, basically. That's what I'm saying. Long story short. You know what I mean? And it'll probably be that way for another 10 or 20 years. But they're trying to get it to the point where you go to the doctor and then you take your car to the doctor too. They're trying to get us to where we don't work on our cars ourselves anymore. But I don't know. As me working there too, like I see cars are like way overcomplicated than they need to be. There's so many parts that are involved that I feel like are extra. You know what I mean? There's like really no reason to be there. but they had, there's like an extra $80 part somewhere that'll fuck up, and then it's fucking up your gas mileage, and then really they could build the engine without it to begin with. You know, I could see it in like the amount of parts that an electric car is. You know, I don't know, because there's not a whole lot of total pieces to a Tesla, but there's a lot of pieces, like, you know what I mean. If you were to every little bolt and everything, I don't know, but yeah, yep. But yeah, like even I want to start a small business or something. Like I'm watching this other guy kind of do it, but he's not really making the right moves to get in there. You know what I mean? Like he, his name is Ian on YouTube, right? And he's got like 250,000 subscribers. He's got a shitload of subscribers. You know what I mean? Um, and he's trying to build a convenience store. He wants to run his own convenience store, but really he should start smaller. Like really, he thinks, and then he jumps to small as he can be, and we'll put a hot dog stand, kind of, you know what I mean. I get where he's coming from. You know what I mean. You want to have a simple place that you can operate, you can manage. You don't have to worry, not a whole lot of overhead. You don't have to pay for a whole storefront with a hot dog cart. You know what I mean. Um, but yeah, there's a couple of people have been telling him, like, why not start with a vape shop? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he needs gas, right? You don't need to sell gas. He could just have like a little pop-in convenience store. You come get a bag of chips and some sodas. You know what I mean? Even if you didn't have lottery tickets, he you know lottery tickets. You start smaller, right? You start smaller, and then you expand. Maybe not even have like beer, and you know what I mean. Like start that small, where it's just snacks. It's just a little snack shack. Um, you know what I mean? And then you would expand from there, and then get your license to sell beer. You know what I mean? And then you're selling beer. You know what I mean? And then you get lottery tickets or whatever. Have lottery crowd starts coming in. You know what I mean? But I don't. You don't really need to sell fuel to make money. And people selling fuel, they're not really making money. They're making a couple pennies per gallon. You know, it takes thousands of gallons before they made some real profit off of selling gas at that store. Really where the profit comes from is people coming in to buy a $4 bag of chips. You know, but yeah, he could start with like a vape shop. Get a good corner spot somewhere, is be selling vape juices and stuff, and then have all the vape that you want. You've got a little vape shop. Run the vape shop, and have some blunts and some t-shirts and some pipes or whatever, and then expand, and then start putting snacks in the bitch. Got little Debbie snack cakes for sale for $1 a piece, or whatever. You know what I mean? But he's trying to go the whole 9 yards, where he's trying to save until he gets $1 million cash to buy like his own. I don't know. I don't know exactly what he's thinking, but you know what I mean. I feel like he's already got enough money now from 250,000 subscribers, based on what I know of YouTube and everything. He could be doing something with what he's currently made, but if for some reason he's having more fun just making videos that are just drama, like over dramatizing his life rather than just doing what he's been talking about doing. Because I've seen him go and make, he'd go live, and then like within an hour he'd get $1,000 in donations from different people. And I'm like, and then plus I see with the revenue he's probably making with 250,000 subscribers. Like, he posts a video, and then about 8 hours later it's got 10K views on it because he's got so many subscribers. You know what I mean? Not that I'm trying to really, it's not a jealousy thing. It's just like I'm doing the math in my head of how much money he's probably got that he's made off of YouTube. You know what I mean? And I've seen from other smaller creators what they get, with money they make on 20,000 subscribers. And then he's got 10 times the amount of subscribers. He's probably not making 10 times the money, but still he's probably got over $100,000 in savings that he's sitting on for some reason, instead of just doing what he's been talking about, like opening the store. Because I've even reached out to him and told him, like, dude, I'd be an employee for you. You're a good guy. I'd see, it's like a hardworking manager, somebody that you'd want to work for. Because you work harder yourself when the manager's putting their whole back into it, you know. And he doesn't like working overnights, you know. I wouldn't have a problem working 3, 4 overnight shifts, you know what I mean? Whatever he'd be willing to pay me, you know what I mean? Just be an overnight, I don't know. Not that you would need an overnight guy in a vape shop, but I don't know. But I'm sure he's got other people like me that would be willing to work for him too. So he's, with his fan base, he can find employees through just his fan base, and find five people that you can trust, maybe other people that are creators too, right? And then his whole store could be 5 creators. People be coming in as fans of one of the creators, coming to see like, oh, Justin's working today. I'm gonna try and go in. I know where that I know where that vape shop is because I've watched enough of his videos, and I know Justin always works on whatever, you know what I mean. But the whole store is creators, and it would help bring more people in, you know what I mean. And then the creators could bounce off of each other, like Ian being the, I don't know, you know what I mean. But like, hey, I got a whole store of other smaller, all my employees, smaller creators, go help them out, I don't know. It's just an idea, but I honestly, I don't know why the guy's not thinking that way with 250,000 subscribers, I was just watching something today where it all happened pretty much in the last year. He went from like, the 20K subscribers, like I'm talking, right? But I've seen the money that the people with 20K subscribers, you're making about $50 each video that you pop out, right? And then some of the people that have 20K subscribers, they're not even popping out videos like they should be, like they'll pop out like 3 videos in a month, I'm like, damn, if you're actually making some kind of money off this, I'm like, why aren't you making like 10 videos a month? Like 3 days can be 1 video, and that's that's a long time to make your fans have to wait for another episode of what, if people are interested in you, you know what I mean. I feel like, if I wasn't going live in between, you know what I mean. I don't know. But I lost a lot of viewership talking about that. I don't know. I hope I didn't strike a chord. But you know what I mean. I feel like the dude's got a bunch of money in his pocket. He's still just like playing the drama on his YouTube channel. And like, granted, like, you can't trust everybody, you know what I mean? So you can't. But that's the point of, like, yeah, if you find a small creator, you can at least, you can watch, you can learn a little bit more about their their background, their personality, and that kind of thing, because they're a small creator. It wouldn't just be a random one of your fans. It's another creator. It's somebody doing the same thing that you're doing, and then they'd be willing to come in and bust ass for you at the same time. I don't know. But wouldn't it be cool, like, right? There's like a convenience store, and everybody working at that convenience store is a YouTuber, and then we all can, like, you can record whatever you want because we're all YouTubers, and the whole store, you can just come into work live streaming yourself the whole day, because it's a streamer, the whole store, the whole convenience store is just run by people that are creators. I don't know. I think it'd be a cool idea. And it would help me out a lot to have a decent fucking job somewhere. Because, like, if that happened, man, I could work for the guy for 20 years and, work for him until Bitcoin pays off. And then he's a Bitcoiner too, so it's, working for one of us, And it's cool to tell women, it's like, oh, I work for Bitcoin. Because technically you do. Like, I go to work so I can make more Bitcoin. So I work for Bitcoin. Say it more eloquently than that, but I'm actually employed by Bitcoin. Believe it or not. I don't make too much money per week, but what I do have, it's in Bitcoin. There's even a joke about it, like, This girl saying, she's like, be careful dating nerds, because one day they might grow up to be Elon Musk, but most of the time they just grow up to have a whole house full of action figures and still live with their parents, and they can't take you out to dinner because all their money is tied up in Dogecoin. Most of them grow up to have a house or an apartment full of action figures, and they can't take you out to dinner because they're waiting on their crypto to hit. But yeah, you'll start cutting out everything you can. You'll either find a way to either increase your expenses by $100 or decrease your spending by $100. You know what I mean? And that's where I started. I was like, well, how can I, what's the most I can cut? And then pretty much the wife was like, well, here, I'll help you out. Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all chilling. Consider being a pimp. No, I'm not even into people that sell livestock. Like I'll see there's this one like rednecky neighborhood here in this county. Like the whole neighborhood's, really it's like the only place in the county they allow you to have a trailer without having a lot rent, right? That's why it's a really rednecky neighborhood. It's all cheaper housing and stuff. You can buy the house and then not have to worry about paying a lot rent. You can live in a double wide, without, and living in a double wide is a lot cheaper than living in, block home. But anyway, out there in that neighborhood, like usually on the weekends, there's a couple of guys, they'll come out to the front of the neighborhood off the side of the highway and they sell livestock, right? And to me, it's kind of fucked up. Like you got like two goats, right? And then you make money off the two goats breeding, right? And so like, like people, I don't know. It's to me, it's kind of fucked up, like using animals to make income off of instead of just working. You know what I mean? Like, because they sell chickens and goats and they'll have cats. Like you can get a cat off of them for $20 or something. Like they'll have hamsters. That's what they do. They sell livestock. They breed animals and then sell whatever breeds. I get it. But at the same time, I don't know. I have too much of a heart where I wouldn't want to. I don't know. I wouldn't want to do that. It's kind of fucked up. You're just using the animal for profit at that point. But at the same time, like how would we live if people weren't selling livestock too? You know what I mean? So yeah, you can't get mad at them. But it's not, like in reference to the pimp thing. That's all. The only reason I'm saying that. Like I wouldn't even want to breed goats and sell the babies. You know what I mean? I couldn't, I don't know. Couldn't imagine selling a human. But I mean, if I don't know, I heard the girls themselves, if you know what you're doing and you find your right clientele, at least while you're younger, you can make $1,000 a day easily. You know what I mean? Especially if you're charging $200 per pump. But yeah, you find like you can find 5 guys in a night that are, if you got a hot enough piece of ass, they'd be willing to, $200 is a lot easier than, $100 dinner and then it being a maybe. Like I see the market for it. And then, where else if you're a girl, if you're a girl that's living off of their looks, where else are you really gonna go? You can make $30,000 a month, you know. Just to do what you love. I don't know, man. Like that's what I'm saying. No shame on them. Like whatever. I don't know. I mean, like it's not right in the eyes of the Lord. I feel like, honestly, but it's a personal choice for money. Like we're all here and have to make money. And it's one of the oldest professions. So I mean, you can't knock somebody for working hard, making the money that they earn. You know what I mean? But I mean, we all to a lesser extent whore ourselves out for money anyway. You know, a lot of people, work in fast food because they'd rather work in fast food than suck dick. So it makes sense to me. I mean, McDonald's has got to be better than sucking dick at least. You know what I mean? Me as a straight male. Because how much money would I even make? You know what I mean? $5 a pop. Fuck. I'd have to suck off 3 guys to make what I could just to work at fuck. You know what I mean? Just to work at McDonald's for an hour, I'd have to fucking get 3 guys to pop. Like sounds like way more work. No homo. You know what I mean? Just try. I don't know. Just keeping it real. But this is without beer though. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe on the Saturday show I'll drink. I'll get a little 4-pack or something for the Saturday show. Like I don't want to because I got beer here. It's just been in the car for months. And it's not the best beer as it is. You don't want to drink it warm. So I don't know. I might just pour it on the ground for my dead homies. Yeah. But yeah, it'd be better just to go buy a fresh 4-pack than to try to drink that shit. But yeah, that's probably what I'll do for the Saturday show. Come back out at the same spot. Hell yeah. Got an airbag coming out. But yeah, I'm just glad I got my oil changed today. Glad it didn't take forever either. It was about, like a half hour, 45-minute job. There was a couple cars ahead of me. It made complete sense. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's where I had the idea. I'm like, I'm going to do the $20 Walmart survival challenge. I was already at the Walmart shopping and shit. And then my car had fucking started giving me shit. So I knew it was close to maxed out. So I was like, oh, man. You know what I mean? Perfect timing. But yeah, if y'all are interested in that $20 Walmart Survival Challenge video, it's going to come out tomorrow at some point, probably before 4 p.m. I'll have it posted. It won't be, I'm not going to count it as an episode of the Chronicles. It's going to be its own titled show somewhere, you know what I mean? Just to help kind of, you know what I mean? Somebody might be, people like challenge videos too, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's stupid. Even, dump a bucket of water on your head challenge, fucking million views. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I could do like a $20 survival challenge at each store, right? Like each and every single store, like $20, Dollar General survival challenge, $20 Walgreens survival challenge. $20 Ace Hardware survival challenge. And pretty much just you bring just bring the item, go to the store, buy $20 worth of items, right? Make a video about you buying the items, and then just go out and camp with the items. Bring one more item of your choice. Because that's what I did. I brought my sleeping bag because there was nowhere I was gonna find anyway to sleep. Even a tarp was like $12 to get a tarp and shit. So, I was like, all right, that's fair. But then it turns out because my card's fucking maxed. I couldn't even actually do the $20 Walmart Survival Challenge. So, it's actually a $10 Walmart Survival Challenge. Oh man, light burnout. Phone charged. Phone's a little bit charged. I can plug the light in for a little while. Maybe I can turn the brightness up on the phone. Maybe that'll work. No, it didn't really work. That's that. It's a little better. A little better. Voltage is still good. We're good there. Yep, full moon tonight too. I think if it's not tonight, it's probably tomorrow night. Sometimes I come out here, I'll hear coyotes and shit. They'll sound like, oh man, they'll sound like they're like close too, man. Like fucking right on the other side of the water. But yeah, keeping it chill, man. You know what I'm saying? Well, 3 hours, 3 hours live, man. Woo! Appreciate y'all hanging with me. Yep. I don't think I got any new subscribers on the live though. That sucks. I might have. I might have got that guy MM. I think that was the first time I'm seeing his name. He might have subscribed. Sorry about your cat, Mr. Duck. Sorry, just want to say it again. You know what I mean? Poor cat. Joe Blow. I think I've seen his name before. I don't think that's a new subscriber. He probably just subscribed for a couple seconds to say some shit. Yeah. That's what it's about, man. I ain't trying to hide it. Like comments are good too. Like even the little, the 100s and the hearts and the smiley faces, those are all good. It all helps. All that gets tracked on the analytics of it all. But yeah. Should I pop the shirt off? Just pop off the shirt. Pop the shirt off. Pop off the shirt. Yeah. All right, here it is. Popping the shirt off. Blast my tits. And it also does help with the temperature. Like I already feel like a 3-degree temperature difference. Yeah, but the hat adds like 2 degrees sometimes. You know what I mean? It'll add like 5 degrees sometimes having that on. It's really just because I need a haircut. Pretty much, I wake up in the morning, my head looks like a fucking bowl of cabbage. took the shirt off and I lost a viewer, man. What the hell? That ain't right. This light is that gonna help a little bit. But the whole area lit up a little bit better. It's a little bright on the screen, but I can't. Maybe I can turn it. That helps a little bit. Yeah. Not too bad. Thank you for coming back. Is it the signal? Signal's going out? I believe it, because it's literally underneath like the cover of 100 trees right now. And the signal's not really good way out here as it is. But it's showing me I got 3 out of 5 bars. It should be alright. But yeah, man. But yeah, I'm gonna get the new phone. So just bear with me till then, man. I know I said that like 5 times already. But yeah, get the new phone. It's supposed to have like a 50 megapixel front facing camera and a 50 megapixel back, 50 megapixel camera on the back and the 50 megapixel, yeah, you get it. But this one I got currently, it's only like 8 megapixel. And then I think, while live streaming, it doesn't even, it's maybe able to do a half a megapixel. You know what I mean? It's just it's got like no RAM. You know what I mean? The phone itself is old. It's probably got like 4 gigs of RAM if it does. The new phone I'm looking at is going to have 16 gigabytes of RAM, so it'll be able to operate better in general. You know what I mean? The service might be a little bit better. And then the picture quality is going to flat out be better. It's supposed to be. So, it's just check. Everything, should just be an improvement. But it's going to be about $700 to do that. And then to do that, I gotta make some room on the credit card to be able to do that. But that's what April's for. And then pretty much like May 5th, they're gonna hit my credit card again for another $1,000 car insurance. But then I'll have car insurance until after December at that point. You know what I mean? I won't have to worry about it until December. Just gotta make room on the credit card for them to be able to swipe for that. And try to pay it back off all the way down to 0 again. But at the same time, I don't know, with Bitcoin coming down in price, I don't know. It was better. I felt like it was better to put my money there than to pay off the credit cards right away. You know what I mean? A couple more months of interest ain't gonna hurt. With how much I've accumulated in the meantime. Yeah. And now I've gotten to the point where I feel secure. I just need to keep working. You know what I mean? I don't need to work as aggressively as I have been, because I hit the savings goal. You know what I mean? Now I'm trying to double, if I can. I'm gonna double the goal just to keep myself running. You know what I mean? But I'll see how long I can even actually do that. But you know what I mean? I'll get to the point where I won't have to worry about saving because I've hit the stack limit. You know what I mean? And then I can use more of the money today. More of the money that I'm making today, I can use today. You know what I mean? Might be able to go spend $20 on a meal instead of trying to eat for $5. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not eating like bad. Like obviously I'm eating enough to get full for like $5. You know what I mean? $5-10 a day. I'm eating enough that I'm full. You know what I mean? Just the stuff I'm eating is so loaded with salt. You know what I mean? It's killing me in the long run. But and not that eating ramen noodles would be any better for like the amount of salt intake I would have. Maybe if you ate ramen noodles without the seasoning packet. Can y'all hear the owls? There's supposed to be a couple owls out there. I'm sorry, man. I look fucking fat as fuck. I know. Been this way since like second grade. You know what I mean? I pretty much had the same shape. I just got a little bit taller. But yeah, man. Hanging out, man. Enjoying the rest of the Wednesday. Well, now it's Thursday. But anyway, hanging out. Thursday should be a good day. Fucking moth. I don't know, man. I know I got hot dogs out there chilling in the woods waiting for me. The fire's already, it's already bundled up. All I gotta do is stick a lighter to the bottom and it's ready to take off. Cook up them hot dogs in a matter of seconds. Toast the bun up a little bit. The only thing is I didn't get no mustard because it was, $20 survival challenge. Didn't even get no mustard. But it's alright. It'll be alright. Still a hot dog. Yep. Nice and bright tonight, you know what I mean? I might be able to. I'll have to now. The damn headlamp. Went out. Actually, I need to plug that in. Damn, then the phone's gonna die. Shit. I'm gonna need the headlamp when I get out there. I know I will. Let me do that. Plug this shit back in. Boom. It only takes about an hour to charge. Yeah, pretty much you charge it for about an hour, and then you can get about 18 hours out of it on low beam. It's been a while since I charged it. I didn't have it like ready, you know what I mean? I don't know. We used it the last couple nights and shit. Hell yeah. I'm sorry, just finger combing my hair. Yep. It's alright. Well, what are we gonna talk about next? What y'all got? What do you got? I don't know, man. Thoughts on Grady Judd? He's a piece of shit, man. He's probably about the most redneck cop in the whole fucking country. Like Lakeland, the county, Polk County, they could probably have twice there's a lot of people that live there because of Grady Judd, but I bet they could have twice the population if Grady Judd wasn't the president. or wasn't wasn't the sheriff. Wasn't the I'm just glad because there was a lot of people that were pushing like for him to be governor. You know what I mean? I'm glad that he's not thinking that way. You know what I mean? Because we don't need him as the governor of Florida. Granted, you know, I mean, Florida doesn't have. We haven't had a good governor in the state of Florida my entire life. I feel like because we had Bush's little brother or Bush's big brother, Jeb Bush, and then after him we had this dude named Rick Scott. There was another dude, I forget his name, but I know Rick Scott was like he was something to do with the hospitals or the reason a lot of the hospitals are privatized versus being like a county hospital is because of Rick Scott. You know what I mean? And then that's not a good thing because it just drives the prices up when you go to the hospital. And it's already, you know, it already literally costs you about an arm and a leg to go to the hospital. And then, yeah, after Rick Scott, we got, I think, Marco Rubio. We had Rubio, or no, he was a senator. I don't know. And now we got DeSantis, which, you know, I don't know, man. And yeah, somehow Pam Bondi's in the White House. You know, that's even better. Oh man. I don't know if y'all hear that. Can y'all hear that in the video? Like my every now and then my heart will growl. You know, like your stomach will growl when you're hungry, right? My heart does that every now and then. It's been doing it since I was 17 years old. You know, sometimes it's loud. I don't know if you can. I probably not. Probably can't hear it in the live stream. Oh man, did you hear that one? Oh man, that one hurt. Anyway, man, I think Chris Farley had the right mindset. I don't know, because I do like it when I'm out there on the boat ramp, chilling on the boat ramp. It's a little bit cooler. I pulled up one night and there was somebody there in a van, like one of them big high top van. It was, you can easily tell it was like somebody in a conversion van, especially nowadays. But yeah, I was like, so I'm just gonna, you know, I don't know. Is there a way to? It's probably just from this. I don't know. I don't know how to do that on. I could probably do it from like a computer if I was live on a laptop. I think it's just maybe this holder. Holder, got the phone in maybe. Let's see if I can drop the phone down a little bit. Maybe I'm covering up the microphone a little bit or something. Yeah, to live in a van down by the river is free, minus car insurance. And if you can find a spot by the river that isn't like somebody's waterfront property, That's the only problem with that is, yeah, there's not a lot of spots that. I'm lucky because it's a boat ramp. It's like it's a county funded boat ramp. At the most, I might get woke up. The police might wake me up at like 6 a.m. Tell me I need to leave, but I don't even think that's going to be a problem because I don't go there every night. You know what I mean? I go there like one night a week, maybe 2 nights a week. It depends where the Uber, you know what I mean? Pretty much where the Uber pulls me. And then I think like I'm saving money on that because like if I did have like a specific house, I'd have to go, I'd have to go back to that house at the end of the day on Uber driving. Whereas the way it is, I'm fucking all, I could drop some shit off and then pull, go 2 miles away from where I dropped it off and just pull over on the side of the road, go to sleep. Hell yeah, man. But yeah, it'd be nice if the channel gets at least big enough where like y'all have your own conversation going on in the chat. You know what I mean? Like on Snooks' channel, he doesn't even pay attention to the chat. We got like our own fucking stories going on. Damn, man. Three hours and 17 minutes live. Hell yeah. People showed up quick too, man. Like I wasn't sitting there with like 0 viewers for fucking 20 minutes. But I get it, it's not always the best time. You know what I mean? Nobody's got as much free time as me. You know what I mean? I can't, But honestly, I thought I pissed off Jerry, and then something was going on with my chat last night. I opened up a live stream last night, and at the end of the live stream, it was quiet. It was like a 45-minute live stream, and people were in there hanging out. And at the end of when I closed it, it said that there was like 46 chats or something like that. So I apologize. I wasn't trying to ignore y'all. It was just this phone, I bet, more than anything. But yeah, I thought I pissed off Jerry. I thought he like unsubscribed and everything because he didn't even say like, "Oh, I'm going," Because normally he'll be like, "All right, peace out, I gotta go." But yeah, I was talking about the American system and how much we resemble a communism, but we're allowed to vote, but it's like a communism where you're allowed to vote, you know. Because it's like as soon as you step out of that line, like me not working a 40-hour week, I received so much backlash. You know what I mean? Like people try to guilt trip me into having to work the 40-hour week, and I'm like, well, really, I don't need it. I don't have 3 kids to support. Like I did. Like my grandfather, before he was 25, he had 5 kids. So there was a reason he had to work a 50-hour week. Like just flat out. You know, and my mom, she had 2 kids before she was 26, so she needed to work too. You know what I mean? Me, I don't really have kids. So, I mean, if I can get by with 25 hours a week, and to be there any more than that, I don't want to be. And I'm not gonna get rich by working those extra 15 hours. I'm just gonna be pouring more of myself into a job that really don't even fucking care about me. You know what I mean? So that's where and then honestly, I think the path of suffrage is better than the path of luxury. The path of suffrage is better than the path of privilege. I feel like, as far as like when Judgment Day comes, you know what I mean. And I'm not saying like it would be nice to have a house, but they want too fucking much money. You know, like I, you know, I don't know, man. But yeah, it's like I don't know. I feel like you need to make $1,000 a week to be able to afford a basic 2 bedroom apartment. You know, if you can't make $1,000 a week, just don't even try. But I know there's that one song. Oh man, there's the guy I know the guy that sings it. Fuck, I can't remember right now. But I know the song. I could start singing it. Fuck, I can't remember the guys. It's like the trailer for sale or rent, rooms to rent, 15 cents. 3 hours of pushing a broom buys a 8 by 12 4 bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means, king of the road. Right? But anyway, in that song, he literally says, fucking 3 hours of work was enough to buy a hotel room for the night. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck happened where I could work an 8 hour day at my job and then not make enough to be able to cover it? You know, like even the motels, they want like I think it's like 50, 60 a night, 70 probably 75. And that'd be to have a crackhead next door. You know, but yeah, it's like I don't know what the fuck happened. The shit's like so overpriced for the amount that I'm actually working for and getting. You know what I mean? No phone, no pool, and no pets. I ain't got no cigarettes, all but king of the road. I don't know, man. They say, the government's the biggest mafia organization that will ever be. I don't know, man. I appreciate y'all hanging out, man. But Kev, I'm still waiting on it to rain. Fucking once it rains, I'm gonna listen. We get the recording of the. It's not even the right tempo, but you know what I mean. Put the phone right up here on the windshield. Get the water bouncing off the windshield sound. But yeah, no. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do when it's like fucking super duper fucking hot and it's raining at the same time. I don't know what I'm gonna do because I can't put the windows down. That's normally what I do at night. I'll put the window down, and then I got this fan that pulls through these screens. I put these screens on the windows so you can't see in, and then I got the fan set right there where it just pulls the air, right through the screen at me. But man, if it when it's raining, I can't do that. I don't want to just be all that rain coming in and getting on the electronics right here on the door and shit. It's like it's not good, and then all the mold and shit after a while. You saw my comment. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't comment back. I couldn't think of what to say at the time. But yeah, I actually went and looked at it twice. Yeah. But man, yeah, it'd be cool. Talk a couple, talk a couple of my viewers into buying. Hey, how you doing, Jonathan? Chilling, chilling. But yeah, talking a couple of my viewers into buying Bitcoin, right? Like, buy like 1%, like I'm talking, right? And then say it actually pays off, right? And then all we gotta, we're just fucking, we could meet up and fucking ride jet skis around or whatever, fucking. Because I do want to at some point. I want to ride from like Key West to Mexico, like what, maybe Cancun. Cancun would be the ideal location, but like take jet skis the whole fucking way, right? And to do it, you would need a gas boat too. You know what I mean? You need another boat that would follow you with enough fuel on it. You could just refuel. You know what I mean? There might even be like a pontoon, and you might have to go to Cuba and then go. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, it's something I want to do. If I ever do become like uber rich, that's what I'm gonna do. Is buy find like five random people, buy the people that'd be cool enough to go. You know what I mean? But buy them the jet ski and be like, take 3 weeks off of work. You're coming, man. Come on. And we'll just fucking ride, just ride the fucking jet skis from Key West all the way to fucking Cancun. My mom thinks I'm cool. Hell yeah. I don't know what my mom thinks of me. She don't think I'm gonna be able to make it on YouTube. And I'm like, Mom, come on, for real. For real. Like I should have been doing this for the last 15 years. You've been telling me to do all this other stupid shit. You know. Like that dude, Amari King. That dude, he's funny as fuck. Really, he is. But man, he gets drunk, and then he got big. He just gets drunk, and then he just walks up and down in his driveway, and just records. He comes up with something funny to say while he's drunk, and he pull his phone out and record him saying it. If you ain't seen him, you should look him up. Amari King. um, he's like a redneck guy, But he's got one where he's talking about women, and he's like fucking, he's like, I don't want to date some manly ass woman, He's like, fucking, what the fuck does a woman need to know how to weld for? He's like, you can't weld the dishes. What the fuck? You gonna go in the kitchen and weld me a sandwich? The fuck? You're not gonna weld fucking folding clothes. He just, you know what I mean? Because the dude's so outrageous, man. But yeah, I don't know, man. And honestly, I'm not really putting out that level of content, but I haven't really invested in the channel yet at this point either. You know what I mean? I've invested time into it, Shit, I probably put about 1,000 hours of work into this YouTube at this point. But I don't know. It doesn't really show either. But I tried to earlier. I tried to see about getting a beat app on my phone where I could just because I figure like everything a computer do, you ought to be able to do on your phone somehow. You know what I mean? And find like an app to like make beats, and then I could put musical underlay back in the fucking videos like I had for a couple. But if it's my own beat that I literally just made on this other app, and then just recorded it to move it out. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about a copyright on that. I tried downloading 2 different apps. It wouldn't let me. I don't know if I got to be in Wi-Fi or what. I don't know. They weren't even that big. The one was like 50 megabytes and the other one was like 100 megabytes. But neither of them would download. It gave me like some error message instead. I think it's one of the things the videos are missing. They need a little bit more music to help pop, pop it up, keep viewership, retain viewers, break up the monotony, a break from the rambling. I don't know. But yeah, I'll get the new phone, and then I got this mount already. So I did basically spent $20 on the new mount. You know what I mean? But yeah, with the new phone and everything, I was gonna do what I was thinking about. We've been talking about doing the RuneScape or maybe even Fortnite because I could do Fortnite mobile. I don't know, just some sitting here. You know what I mean? Have the fucking just me live streaming, popping my head over to see what's going on with chat and playing. I don't know, just be more going on while I'm talking. Oh, lost a viewer. I understand. They probably just disconnected for a second on or something. Yeah. I appreciate y'all hanging with me, man. I gotta get to 4,000 hours viewed somehow or another. It doesn't count myself. Like like when I view my shit, it doesn't. I don't think it counts into my total time watch or nothing, which sucks because like I do watch my own. You know what I mean? I watch my episodes. Just what did I do last week? You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. Oh yeah, I remember that. But yeah, man, one thing I just noticed right now as I'm thinking about it, but I'm bitching about Uber less from, you know what I mean? Because when I was in the city, man, there was all kinds of, you know what I mean? They used to send me 15 orders in a row that, like, they knew I was going to hit no on. You know what I mean? Shit like that don't happen out here in the small town. Like, pretty much the way the small town is, whatever order that comes through, I pretty much take, unless I'm because sometimes I'm busy doing a live stream or something, and I'm like, that ain't fucking worth. That ain't worth moving for $6 right now, you know. I do like to see double digits, you know what I mean? I'm not just trying to run around for, fives all fucking day. But yeah, man, I remember like, the city, man, I'd always be bitching about like, oh, my fucking acceptance rate. They're trying to fuck up my acceptance rate again, you know. Or like, I don't want to go to that whole fucking thing. They keep sending me orders to that side of sound. I don't know. With me being out here in this small town, there's not really a direction I don't like going. Every direction has its advantages, pretty much out here in the small town. Like if I get an order that pulls me down south, that's like there's only one store I can even go to get these cigars. It's like I can only go to a Family Dollar for some reason. Family Dollar is the only store that has them. Not a Dollar General, not fucking I don't know whatever. Um, but yeah, the Family Dollar I have to go south. So if I ever get an order going south and I'm like low on cigars, I'm like, okay, cool, I can pull in there. Usually I'll wait till I'm out of cigars before I go head back in there. You know what I mean? Then it's, I'm sitting there for like 4 hours without a cigar, Like, okay, well, here's one going that way. And helps kind of coax me to go down there. You know what I mean? And if I get one that goes north, it's near the drink station that has the best Mountain Dew. So I don't mind going north either. Pretty much it's the orders that are in the city I don't like taking in the little small town. Because sometimes you're like fighting through all 5 lights. You gotta make 3 U-turns or some shit, and then you get there to the drop off. They don't even have a driveway, or some shit like that. But yeah. There's one lady, man, she fucking Wendy's. She'll order Wendy's, and she like literally works in the parking lot, like there's like a strip mall behind the Wendy's, right? And she works in that plaza in that little strip mall behind the Wendy's, and she'll order Wendy's, or she'll Uber Wendy's rather than walk across the parking lot to go to Wendy's. I'm just like, to me, it's an easy $6 when that order does come through, because like all I need to do is go into Wendy's and grab it, and then walk it over to her. But yeah, I don't know. Every now and then you get some easy ones. But usually when I go to work, it's very, very few and seldom it's an easy day when I go to work. It's supposed to be, though, you know what I mean? Like, fucking. But also, man, the sound thing, like Fred was saying earlier about I sound like quieter now. I've got the phone a little bit further away, too. That might be what it is. Because normally I have the phone sitting on my steering wheel. You know what I mean? I kind of set it right here on the steering wheel where it's like this far from my mouth, and now it's like all the way, more than an arm's reach away from where my mouth is. That's probably another reason it's a little bit quieter. I'm sorry, man. I'm really wanting to go. Like I said, I want to go this way. I want to go horizontal with the lives. But doing them this way, you have more of an opportunity of like catching a new viewer. You know what I mean? If I even do. But yeah, get some good viewership. I had some pretty good. I had like 5 people. Chilling for a good minute. There was only 2 people really talking, but there was still 5 people that were listening to me. It was showing like 7 and 9, so there was a couple of people that are coming and going or something, you know what I mean? But yeah, get some good viewership, and then I'll just do it sideways. I don't know. Me holding my phone, I feel more comfortable sideways, especially if I'm watching for a while. You know what I mean? If I'm not just watching like a short, this makes sense for like if I'm flipping through channels. You know what I mean? But if you're sitting and stopping and watching for a minute, I don't know. This feels more comfortable to me. You know what I mean? Especially some people, like, you might even be doing it. You might be watching me and then also got something on the TV. You're like dual screening right now. You know what I mean? It's like it'll be like you're divided attention. You know what I mean? Not that I'm mad at you. It's just life. I get it. You know what I mean? If I had a TV, I'd probably be live streaming while watching TV. You know. Just live stream myself watching fucking X-Files or some shit. And the funny part is that actually sounds like it would be more entertaining. Maybe I should really get the tablet charged up. Have it ready for the Saturday show. You know what I mean? 'Cause I could even put on another fucking YouTuber. We could fucking, be watching another YouTuber, like my live reaction to watching this YouTube video for the first time. And I'm gonna definitely do that. Get a couple beers, slam two of them real quick, because I don't need to drink a whole lot. You know what I mean? I get a 4-pack of like the 8% shit. Whatever it be, a 4-pack of Tall Boys. Slam two of them, and then drink the other two. Casually. But slam the first two to get yourself up there. Got you, Fred. Yep. I still gotta run out there and fire up the, fucking cook up them hot dogs. Get a little bit of film off of it somehow or another. But yeah. Appreciate you hanging out, man. About to hit the 4-hour mark live. Peace out, Brad. Have a good night, man. Or good afternoon, probably. Yeah, like I said, I gotta run around the corner. Phone's losing battery too. Damn. At least gotta go out there and grab my shit. Well, appreciate y'all for chilling. And it's about time to go. Like I said, I'll keep streaming. If I got one viewer, I'll keep streaming. But yeah, no one's gonna be. If I'm not gonna be, sitting here waiting for the next person to pop in. But all right, man. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all hopefully Saturday. At least you'll pop in and say something real quick. I don't blame you if you don't. You know what I mean? But I will be drinking. It might be interesting. You might be missing a pretty good show.